Everybody, and welcome back to the campaign. It is now, what, session 3, session 4? I forget. We are session 4, guys, and things are starting to heat up. We've got 5 players today. We're going to be starting with 4, and then the 5th is going to join once he gets home from work. We left things off last week with the party managing to rest. I forget where you guys were actually resting, like what the location was. I think it was kind of like out in the open or something. Um, I might be wrong in saying that, but no matter what, you guys have actually managed to rest. There wasn't a random encounter. Nothing really seemed to have occurred. But it is now the beginning of the next day. I'd like to ask you guys before you really get started today, how many rations do you guys have?
I have one.
Oh, you have one. What about the rest of
I'm
you?
I'm carrying 0.
I believe our missing friend had the rest of them,
You're missing Fred. I'll have a look at his sheet.
but I do believe we spent most of them during our last rest.
Yeah, all mine are gone.
Yeah, it said he doesn't have any on his sheet. So you guys have ran out of food already. And I mean, you guys are pretty broke. You don't really have much money to your name. This was kind of your opportunity to actually make something of yourselves and kind of get up in the world. But it's fair to say, guys, you haven't got any food today. Which means you guys are going to need to try and search for some food. So with that in mind, guys, it's mid-morning. Probably 8 or 9 a.m. And you guys are quite hungry. I'd argue you're quite thirsty as well. And you guys have managed to set up camp. You've managed to set up camp. You're probably dismantling the camp now and getting ready to kind of move out. What do you guys want to do?
I'll go hunting for food with my spear.
I will also go hunting. I'm not sure. I don't really have a good weapon to go hunting with, though. Maybe I
What?
can try to track something with Isabel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's lots of different types of animals that you could potentially find. So the two of you want to go hunting. Did the rest of you guys want to stay at the statue?
Yeah, perhaps I could do some more investigating while they hunt and the NPCs we brought along dismantle the camp.
The NPC you brought along?
We did have the miners who were with us, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so woo. Yeah, so
So
you've
they
got
could dismantle camp while the others hunt because I'm too old to hunt. I don't have any weapons, so I'd like to spend my time pondering the statue.
yeah. It's obviously worth mentioning that the your allies who are here with you guys, they do have food, but they don't have a lot of food. And if they're giving it to you guys, then they will run out as well, and they'll run out very quickly. Um, you might be able to get one from them if you fail to hunt, but let's see what happens. I'd like Isabel and Norman roll me a intelligence check each as you guys now begin to hunt, search for food.
And then can we have Duncan search for water?
Yeah, sure, that sounds good.
Can I get advantage on the check for tracking?
I would say it definitely falls under the things that you would have advantage on, so yes. 21 and a 3. Cool. Right, let's have a look. Alrighty, so You come across a herd of gazelle that seem to be just foraging, just munching on grass and whatever else they find in the dirt. There are 5 of them grouped up, and for sake of purpose, based on your rolls, have a check. It does take most of the morning to actually find them, so it's probably around midday at this point by the time you've actually found them. And you guys are relatively far away. You can see them, and so far they haven't seen you. What do you guys want to do? Be aware, if you're trying to use a ranged weapon, the area ahead is a bit obscured. You will need to move closer to get a clean shot.
Yeah, I want to move up to near range, and then I want to hurl my spear at the biggest one.
Cool. What about you, Norman? Do you want to stay where you are and let Isabel go forwards? Or do you want to follow her and try and move up as well?
I would like to get close enough to try to throw my hand axe at them.
Okay. So the 2 of you now move up. Do you move up together, or do you kind of split up?
Probably best to move separately.
Okay. Can the 2 of you please now roll me a dex check? Let's see what you guys roll. 5? 21? Ooh, yeah, you have advantage, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Is it just outdoors that you have advantage? I think it is. Fairly certain it is. 21 and 18. The 2 of you move up, and the gazelle are none the wiser. You hold your weapons in your hands, you bring them back, and you toss them. Your attacks have advantage, guys. (21) 5. Very cool. So you both now hurl your weapons, and you manage to bring down one of the gazelle. Quite a large one, which is definitely good for you guys. The others now scurry and run off into the distance. The impact of the weapon was enough, Norman, to actually fell the beast. You don't need to execute it or anything like that. It's already dead. It was also very, very accurate. So you pick up the gazelle, and now, if you'd like, you can make your way back towards camp.
I think that's what we're going to do.
Very good. And you manage to do so. You are not attacked by anything on the way back, and you now approach the rest of the party victorious out on the field. You've managed to bring back food, but it now needs to be prepared. Which one of you would like to prepare it? That means, kind of preparing the meat, right? Cutting out all the innards and
Probably best
slicing
I
up.
do that. I've got bushcraft and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, fair. Alrighty, do you want to roll me
Intelligence?
a... Yeah, it's intelligence check. You got advantage. 5 and a 4. You really do make a dog's dinner of it. It's not the most cleanly cut creature, but it isn't too difficult to do. It takes longer than you would like, but you've got the meat in a pile, and you've got the innards to one side. Now it's all about cooking it. This is the one check that really does matter, to be honest. And honestly, I didn't really need to have you roll to prepare it, but I did anyway. You can roll me one more check to cook it if you'd like to try and cook it.
Intelligence?
Unless you
Bushcraft?
like, unless you like to do something else with the meat. And I don't know if you guys have any salt, or I don't know why you would. You could like smoke it, maybe, right? There are things that you can do. But if you do want to cook it, yeah, it's intelligence.
Well, is there enough to last us? It's a gazelle, so I imagine there's enough meat to last us like a little while here at least. So
Let me
cook some of it, smoke the rest of it.
Yeah, let me have a look actually, because I do actually have a chart full of that I made myself with like a weight of animals and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. It's fair to say like it's not. Would it be a similar weight to a goat, maybe? Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, so I'd say there is enough meat here for 5 gear slots. How much it's going to be? 5 gear slots of goat meat. Each slot could probably make a couple of meals. It'd be like 1d4 meals. There's a lot of food, but I don't think it's about like how long, like how much meat you have. I think it's about how long it will last. Smoking it will obviously make it last a bit longer, but it obviously won't last forever, right?
Yeah,
Up
I'd
to
like
you.
to try to smoke it. If we have the time for that, because that seems like it would take a while. If not, I'll just cook it and toss it in the bag and call it a day.
Yeah, I think smoking it will take a while, and I think you'll have to obviously start a big fire, and that might draw monsters over to the camp, and I'm not too sure you guys want that right now. So yeah, if
Yeah,
you want to cook it,
I'll just cook it and
meat,
toss
meat
the
will
rest
still
of it in the
last.
bag.
Meat will still last a couple of days after being cooked before it starts to go off and starts causing you guys discomfort. Roll me a check, intelligence, please. Don't think you'd have advantage on this check, actually. I don't think it's related to any ranger skills specifically. But 19's really good. So yeah, you managed to cook the meat through, and every player may add. Let's go with 3 rations each of this meat. I'll add them for Duncan.
I don't have a pack, so I don't know if I can carry it.
Well, there are a couple of players who do have packs, right?
I could add them to mine but they'll be hers, but I'll just put them in my bag.
Yeah. Who else? Who else has a backpack? Well, other player does, right?
I do. I've got one slot left in it, but I can probably chuck a few torches.
I know torches are very useful. You might not want to do that. If Alistair has space, you might want to take as much as you can, really, of the meat. At least for now.
I can carry. Let's see, they go by 3, right? 3 per slot.
Yeah.
So with that's 2 slots already with mine, my portion and Isabel's portion, and I already had 1, so I can carry 2 more.
Yeah. So if you can carry Duncan's portion as well,
Yes.
then that will make do. And also, it does provide meat for the rest of the people here as well. So it has really worked out for you guys very well today. Duncan has managed to bring back water. He went back to the water source where you guys originally fought those hobgoblins, which wasn't too far away. So you guys have water, you guys have food, and whilst this is all going on, all of this cooking is being done, and once it's kind of like distributed amongst the party, it's now time to kind of pivot over to the new player who's going to be joining us today. So Jamie, you've been up here now for quite a while. How long do you think Jamie's been up in these hills, kind of searching for this?
2 days.
2 days. Very good. I like that. So 2 days you've been up here. Probably came from the same location that the players are currently have come from as well. And I imagine you still have rations left. You still have water and everything, but I imagine it's starting to dwindle. And surprisingly, as you've kind of woken up wherever you've kind of laid your head for the night, you actually see smoke beginning to kind of plume into the air, and it's not too far away. So it makes sense, you probably investigate that, see what's going on, see if it's friends or foes, figure out what's really going on up in these hills. Is there anything you want to do as you kind of approach this smoke stream?
Yeah, I mean, she'll just keep a lookout behind her as well by holding up
Yeah.
a hand mirror.
A hand mirror, I like that. Roll me a wisdom check for spotting. See if you see anything as you kind of approach. Okay. So, takes you about 20 minutes to approach the site of the smoke, and you find yourself kind of up on a vantage point, kind of overlook on like the top of a ridge. And as you look down into this, almost like a ravine, it's not too deep or anything like that, or too wide, but you look into this narrow ravine, and you see what appear to be several humans, all kind of standing around a fire. There's a big statue of some sort of Neolithic god, and yeah, the smell that's kind of in the air right now is of meat, and it smells very good. It smells well cooked, and yeah, you've actually come across human life up here, which is quite a bit of a surprise to you. You weren't really expecting that.
Is there a typical appearance for a bandit?
Not necessarily, but what I would ask you for is a wisdom check for instincts. That's an instinct check. And that will kind of give you the insight that you need. 8. You look down and you feel uncertain. You do see individuals carrying weapons, wearing armor. They look a bit messy. Some of them have blood-stained armor, which gives you the impression that they've seen combat recently. It's uncertain to you whether they are bandits or not, quite frankly. They could be. Though one of them does really stand out. One of them seems to be wearing a robe, has a pointy hat, a long grey beard. It's... in this world, wizards are known, and they typically have an appearance like this. So if these are bandits, they've got a wizard as an ally.
And that's not unheard of for bandits to have wizards?
It is. It's probably not very common. So it is kind of giving you this idea of maybe they're okay, they might be okay, but it is a bit of a risk. It's whether Jamie thinks that she's comfortable taking that risk, or if she'd like to continue to observe them.
Yeah, she'll just continue to observe and pray to the Morning Lord, trying to find an answer.
It's good. Quite a pleasant day today. It's quite warm. But with it now coming into the early afternoon, the camp has been dismantled, and you guys have now packed up your food. So it's now time to continue on. Start searching in the area around to see if you guys can find anything. Are you guys ready to move out? Is there anything you'd like to do before you start exploring this area?
Yeah, I would like to we rested, so can I roll for my hit points here before
Yeah,
we
I'm looking in the chat. I don't think anybody rolled at the end of last session, so I think you guys can. Yeah.
I'd like to don my armor.
Don your armor. Good stuff. Did you not don your armor before you went hunting?
No, it gives me disadvantage on stealth.
It gives you disadvantage. Fair enough. Oh, good to know. Good to know. So Norman, obviously you're recovering from your wounds now, and you're back up to full strength. Took a little while for you guys to overcome the wounds that you'd received in the previous days, but you're all looking a lot healthier now. And it's probably...
One
go on.
more thing I'd like to do before we get going is I suppose I rolled pretty low when I was butchering it, so I guess the hide is kind of in tatters at this point, so maybe not.
Yeah, I'd say with the failed check that you made, you're not really getting much of a hide at all. It would be like strips.
Yeah.
If you want to add if you want to add leather strips to your sheet, you can.
All right.
So it'd be raw leather strips. It takes up 1 gear slot. I imagine that could still be very useful though. So even having little just pieces of leather, little strips of leather that you could do things with, yeah, patch up equipment and stuff like that. Although saying that, you might want to tan it. You could do that at any settlement really. Most settlements have a tannery. But
maybe if we're completely out of rations, I'll boil it as
Yeah.
as an emergency broth.
Yeah, I think one of the ways of doing it is dousing and putting it in urine, right? But yeah, you can also boil it as well. There's a few
I would
different things you
label it
can.
as hide strips then, just so that you know it's not leather yet.
Yeah, it's hide strips. Yeah, my bad. Hide strips. Looks like Duncan's joined us. Welcome. Good to have you here.
Howdy, how's everyone?
We're doing good. We just packed up camp. A couple of the players have found food, and I think Norman is carrying. Is it Norman or is it Alistair who's carrying all the food?
I got the food.
Yeah, so Alistair's got a load of food now for you guys, and it's like a gazelle meat basically, which is venison, right? Yeah, I think so.
Yes, got 9 rations total.
Hopefully that'll
Sweet.
keep you guys fucking going moving forward. But you guys
Certainly
now
hope so.
you guys now head out, and Jamie, you kind of keep a bit of a cautionary distance from the party as they start to explore the kind of lowlands of this hillscape that they're kind of moving through, because there's lots of like ravines and crags, and sloping hills and whatnot. If you are trying to like stay kind of out of sight, I'd like you to roll me a dexterity check, Jamie.
Let's hope I roll well. Yep, that's great.
That's fantastic. Oh, because that was not venison. What is it then? What is it? Let me know.
Gazelle
just-
meat.
Is it what? Sorry?
Gazelle meat. Well, technically venison is any hunted meat, so I guess technically, but it's not the same as deer venison.
Yeah, I know it's not the same as deer venison. I figured it was just hunted meat, right? But yeah. Yeah, natural 1. So as you guys are leaving, suddenly some rocks sort of crumble from the nearby ridge, and as you guys look up, you see a woman, wide-eyed, looking at you all. What does Jamie do when she realizes she's been seen?
She drops her mirror and then picks it up and then waves at the group and then kind of tries to get away for a second, but then comes back to see if they're not attacking.
You're not seeming to get attacked, but Miles says, "Who's that woman? What's she doing here? Isn't a safe place for somebody to be out by themselves." And he kind of gestures to the rest of you guys. "How about you go figure out who she is?"
I'll go.
She might be dangerous. I'll come with you, Isabel.
Duncan will remain with the civilians.
Yeah, good idea. So the two of you guys head forward and begin to approach. There seems to be like a ramp that you guys can kind of move up, like a natural ramp, like an incline. You guys kind of scale up the side and approach with caution. And what do you do, Jamie?
She just gets like stuff out of her backpack, like rations and stuff to trade or offer as a surrender.
Cool, and now you guys are all within talking distance of one another. What do you say, Jamie, as they approach?
She just kind of cautiously holds up her hands and asks, do you have the plague?
No.
Do we have the? I'm sorry. What sort of question is that? Do we have?
Do you have any sick, or... No.
No. I think we're relatively healthy amongst this group here. Do you have the plague?
No. Blessings upon the Morning Lord to you. I do not, and I was worried that you were dangerous lot. You can take whatever you want if you're looking to rob me.
We're not bandits. What are you doing out here? This seems relatively an unsafe place for somebody to be out here alone. We've been attacked twice already.
I've seen the attacks from a distance. I suppose I've just gotten lucky so far. The temple around here is what I've been searching for. It's important to me that I receive guidance from this place.
Temple. We're looking for a mine.
Norman kind of like looks around and he like gestures over to Isabel, and is like, well, you know, I've been interested to possibly find this place. I have a theory it might be overrun by hobgoblins at the moment, though I'm not entirely sure.
That's terrible.
Just to kind of give the rest of the players a bit of an understanding. What how old is Jamie? What does she look like? Give us a bit of information about her appearance.
She's like 26, dressed in priest robes and garment with a few jewels. It looks like she was relatively lower class, but had, inheritance of some kind, as well as adornments of Lathander, the Morning Lord. She's
So
also got, this backpack, and she's got a weapon, like a longsword, as well as a longbow that's currently, like, stuck up on a rock.
Are you a priest? If so, holy people are always welcome to travel along.
You are seeking a mine and not pilgrimage?
Yes, that's correct. We are here trying to find. Well, I should probably release the details on it, but there's supposedly an ore deposit somewhere around here we're trying to look for.
I've been searching for a sign for some time. Perhaps it was meant to be if you are trying to do some good out here. Very few are willing to give that a shot these days.
Well, if you wish to, come with us. Otherwise, the days are short and we must make way. Isabel, I kind of like nod and I start making my way back down the ridge.
I suppose Jamie will kind of shrug at Isabel and gather her stuff to join the group.
Yeah, you've been out here alone for a while now, and the opportunity of grouping up with other people is not something that you're gonna that opportunity go by really. So you now kind of come down the hill and meet the rest of the group. You meet two prospectors whose names are Miles and George. Miles is big and gruff. George is lean and very stern in how he speaks and how he acts. He's quite proper. Then there are two men who appear to be working with the prospector and also have been hired for this this expedition, and that's Tim and Alex. Along with that, there's Duncan and the wizard Alistair as well. Any questions for the cleric who's joined us? Anyone?
I just give the cleric a
Priest.
short recognizing nod, as I too am a follower of Lathander, though in a far less devoted way than this cleric is. So when I see her symbols and signs, I just give a small nodding recognition.
Cool. She doesn't recognize that you recognize it, but she, is very pleased to see that it's not a horrible thing in this group, that it's not some sort of, heretical faith that these guys are worshipping.
Yeah, because there are definitely some heretical gods in this setting. Some evil gods.
The young man in the leather cap, whom is referenced as Duncan, tips said leather cap and... Oh, hi there. They call me Duncan. Duncan of Dusthaven. It's good to meet you, madam. What do we call you?
It's good to meet you too. I'm Jamie of, well, I suppose it doesn't matter anymore. I've lost a lot of people. I'm just glad to see that there are, people still willing to do some good.
Sounds about right. Well, either way, it's my job to keep you safe, and the rest of us too. Whether it be by throwing myself in front of blades and daggers and bows alike, or by actually doing some good. So you can rely on me to do something.
I assure you, if any blades came my way, I would not be very safe.
Well then, count on me to get between them.
Very good, guys. So, with that in mind, you guys now begin to explore this space. Who is navigating today? Is it Norman?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, then you're going to need to roll me an intelligence check with advantage, please. Let's see what you roll. 11. Okay, so you guys now find yourselves moving along a lot of the lowlands. And it doesn't take long for you to find signs of life in the area. Footprints in the dirt that appear to be old, very old. So much so to the point that they are almost... you're not even really able to recognize them as footprints. It's only because of Norman's keen eyesight that you're even able to see them, but it's very clear that this is a place where, well, humanoids of smaller stature seem to move through, hobgoblins being the most likely source. And you guys decide to kind of head up onto a bit of high ground to give you guys a bit of a opportunity to survey the surrounding area to really figure out where you need to be going next. And as you do, you come across a beautiful kind of hillscape ahead. There's some low ground and some high ground. There's rocks and boulders that are kind of scattered throughout this space. But more importantly, I'd like Norman to roll me a stealth check, please, a dexterity check, as you find yourself at the front of the party. 11. Alright. As you kind of move forward, you see that the area is now sloping down into a ravine or a very narrow valley. Just some lower ground ahead. And as you begin to move your way down, leading the party down there in the best way that you can, you start to hear noise ahead. Noise is in Savage Tongue. But you're too far away to really make out anything that's being said. Currently, from your position, you can't see what is saying it. What would you like to do?
First thing I'm gonna do is put my hand up to like let the party know that everybody should stop, and I kind of like wave it towards the ground to just kind of be like everybody like lay down, get out of sight, and then I'm going to try to sneak around over to whatever's making the noise and try to figure out where this is coming from.
Okay. If that's the case, then you can roll me another dex check as you move up and try and sneak up to the area, just so you can get close enough to hear.
Do I have to roll a stealth check, hiding far away?
I imagine you're at the back of the formation, so as long as you stay at the back, you'll be fine. It's only Norman who needs to roll. Okay, give me a second. All right. So as you kind of come to the edge of this ridge and you kind of look down to this area, you see standing around having a chat are 4 hobgoblins. They seem to be in deep conversation, and one of them has slung over his shoulder a sack, and as he kind of jostles and moves whilst he's talking, you can hear jingling of metal. They look quite well armed. They look like warriors of their race, or at least something similar. But they seem to be just chatting right now, and I say chatting. I think what I mean is arguing. As you kind of lean in and try to listen to their conversation, roll me an intelligence check. See what you hear.
My bad, that was initiative.
It's a 15, no?
Yep. So plus my intelligence, that would be 17.
If you're having difficulty with INI and INT, just change initiative to something else, like just initiative. You can just change the name of the macro if it's an issue for you.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that.
But you look down, and they seem to be lost, these hobgoblins. They don't know where to go. And they're arguing about which direction will lead back to the mines. And this conversation now goes on for a little while, and they seem to be just going round in circles.
Is there a large rock atop the ridge?
There is a rock, but it's not large enough to kill 4 hobgoblins, unfortunately.
Is it large enough to kill 2?
Maybe 1? This is what you guys see. There's even a couple of trees down there as well, on the low ground.
I don't really have much in the way of ranged weapons. I'm gonna try to sneak on back and inform the party of what I've just seen here.
Okay, so you relay the information to the party, and you all now kind of understand what you're seeing on the map. All hobgoblins grouped up, arguing, shouting. It's loud. I don't think any of you understand Savage Tongue apart from Norman. If you do, let me know. But they are clearly arguing.
I assume when you say savage tongue, you don't mean orcish.
In this campaign, Orcish is Savage Tongue.
Oh, okay. I would maybe understand then, because I do speak
Yeah.
the language.
Yeah.
But if
Unless
I'm-
I stated otherwise at the start of the campaign, did I have you guys study Savage Tongue, or did I have you guys pick specific greenskin languages?
You just I don't think you ever stated anything
gonna say,
on that.
I don't think it came up.
Yeah.
Okay, well I will say these guys, if it wasn't Savage Tongue, they'd be speaking Goblin language, the Goblin language.
Fair enough. Okay. So, Norman, you've told us about this. I've got an idea. So, Duncan quietly, hushed tones, he looks out and he says, "Now, from what I can see, there's a couple of ways down there. And we're up on the high ground right now. So," he points at Alistair, "if you can find some cover, maybe behind that there boulder, you can blast down the enemy from up high. Meanwhile," and he gestures to himself, Norman and Isabel, "we three can do a pincer move. Come round from each side. Maybe even scare 'em into not being able to be as tactical. You know what I mean? Come down like a thunderbolt. Eh? Quick and hard. Won't know what hit 'em."
It looks like she has a longbow. I motion over to Jamie.
Oh, I don't really want to fight, but if you must, then just let me know if anyone is felled, and I can potentially call upon divinity to rescue them from the clutches of death.
Sounds about right. We all in favour?
Alistair nods in favor as Duncan or as Norman Duncan relays a plan.
All right. Should I suppose I should try to make my way to as close to this staircase without being seen as possible.
All right, so you start moving up, crouching as you do so. Roll me a stealth check, please. Dexterity. Yeah, you manage to move over to this side. And it's at this point that one of the hobgoblins who seems to be in charge, he smacks one of the other ones. And says, "I know where we're going. Let's go." You realise that you're running out of time, as the other hobgoblins are starting now to react. What's the plan? What's next?
Everybody else move into position, please, and let's just get on this as quickly as we possibly can.
Alright. I'll go next.
Yeah, if you guys all want to position yourselves, you're each going to need to roll me a dex check, because you're trying to obviously get a surprise off here, guys.
I
9?
would be able to hit them from this place, right? The rock is not in the way.
Yeah, I'd say so. Disadvantage. Alright, you guys have got it. Well done. Click on your tokens or on initiative for me, please. Alright, you guys have the surprise round. So, Isabel, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna move here and I'm gonna hurl my spear at this goblin.
As you come running out and bring back your spear, one of the hobgoblins turns to you and its eyes just grow wide, confused who you are and what you're doing here. They don't even have time to bring up their weapons as you hurl your spear. Go for your attack. You have advantage. That hits. And it hits the goblin in the chest. The hobgoblin grabs hold of it and goes as he just slumps onto the ground. You
I'm
finished?
gonna finish my movement here and then draw my short sword, raise my shield, and pass turn.
Very good, thank you. Jamie.
Jamie's gonna try and just watch the corners with a hand mirror and hide.
I love that. Inspiration. That's great. Luck point. Role playing your character. Right, Norman.
Norman is going to make his way over to this hobgoblin and smack it with his axe.
You go running in, and the hobgoblins realise they're being attacked at this point, and the hobgoblin turns and says, "No! Don't kill me!" You still gonna swing?
Yep.
Go for it. 15 hits. 4 points of damage. A brutal hit, and you knock the hobgoblin off his feet. And he now just looks up at you. Ah! It's just like in fear of you. Over to Duncan.
Alright, Duncan moves 5, 10, 15, 20 as he calls out for Dusthaven and goes for the strike against the one directly in front of him. Oh, that's just peachy.
So you come running down. It's hobgoblin, obviously expecting something to come. He crouches down. You run above him and he just lifts up your legs and makes you fly over his form. You hit the ground on the opposite side. How much movement do you have left?
What was there? 5, 10, 15, 20. 10.
You are prone on the ground and you are unable to stand up. What
Sounds
does Duncan
about
do?
right.
What does Duncan do at this point?
I mean, probably curse the gods. He audibly, just bellows out with anger.
Very cool. Alistair.
Basically like Tim the Enchanter from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, I want to emerge from behind that rock and blast a magic missile towards the first hobgoblin.
Yeah, go for it. That hits. 1 point of damage. With that in mind, it's now the start of the official combat. That hobgoblin is dead. It's over to Isabel.
Seeing that Duncan is in trouble, Isabel will rush up and I will swing my sword and try to cut its femoral artery.
Oh, okay. Ooh, okay, there you go. The hobgoblin brings up his shield and manages to block your attack. Over to Jamie.
She just tries to get a better look as she's looking at the other henchmen here.
Yeah. Glance in and you see 3 of them just fighting, and there's some hobgoblins. One of them's already dead. They seem to be panicked, but they have not yet routed. Alright, it's now this one's turn here. Alright, this hobgoblin's still wanting to fight. Norman to his side, he's going to try and attack Norman. Roll me a block check, Norman. Unfortunately, you do not succeed on your block. Therefore, you take a d4 points of damage. You can roll it. So he pulls out a javelin and then just thrusts it right into your leg. Manages to pierce through the very light armor that you're wearing. And yes, there goes some of your health. Now over to you. What do you want to do, Norman?
I scream towards the hobgoblins. You're surrounded. Surrender, and we will consider letting you live.
Very good. Roll me a charisma check. That's pretty good. And realizing that the jig is up, the hobgoblins put down their weapons. Combat is over. One of the hobgoblin right in front of you, Norman, quite injured. You know, he's took a pretty nasty wound. I think he's just like sitting on the floor now that he's kind of surrendered. The other two are still standing, and the one that you've injured says, "I'm very badly wounded." He says it's obviously in his own language, and follows up by saying, "Are you able to patch me up?" Looking at one of the other hobgoblins, and the hobgoblin now looks at you to see if he's allowed to do that.
I begin taking some herbs out of my pouch and grinding a salve up for him.
That's nice of you. You can roll me a check. DC 11, I think. Yeah, you make a salve, and it gives the hobgoblin a hit point back, and manages to staunch the bleeding that he's been taking. The rest of you guys, I imagine, now approach.
Yeah, I'd like to regroup with the rest.
Very cool. Your rest of your entourage are kind of up here to the right side, kind of looking down at you guys whilst you're with these hobgoblins. But one of the hobgoblins says to the other one, "What do we do now?"
You
Yeah,
do
but
nothing.
"All right," he exclaims. "What do you want then?"
I go over and I pick up the sack of metal that one of them was carrying, and I look inside it.
You look inside and you find a number of trinkets, treasures that they must have stolen or found in their time out here. They seem to have been going back to bring these ill-gotten gains back with them.
I heard one of you talking about a mine. I would like to know very much where that is.
They kind of look to one another and they say, "Why? Are you one of the mercenaries our bosses hired?"
Sure.
Maybe a charisma check. for sure. He kind of he squints at you and he says, "You're no mercenary."
Well, I'm a mercenary. I'm just not one your boss hired. We have a claim on that piece of land. And we have a right to know where it is. Tell us this, and after we strip you of your goods, we'll let you go free.
They all kind of nod, apart from one of them. He says, "We can't tell them where it is. They'll kill everybody else."
I can kill you right now if you'd like.
He looks at you and says, I'd rather you didn't. The other one says, oh no, he makes a good deal. We should take the deal. Yeah, we could tell you where it is. But it probably wouldn't be a good idea. You guys will be outnumbered.
How many?
He starts counting on his fingers, and he goes past 10 fingers and starts counting up. You don't know exactly how many, but definitely more than a dozen.
Well then, that's to be expected regarding these sorts of expeditions, I suppose. Alrighty. Well, what do it's just like a sack full of trinkets that's that I've kind of got right here.
You'll be able to find out what they are. I just I'll you know what? Whilst you're kind of role playing, let's have the rest of the party roll a check each to see what's actually in here. Can each of you roll me a D100 apart from Norman, please? Okay, so you guys have found a silver and gold circlet, which is worth 40 gold pieces. You've also found... Oh, that's nice. I'll tell you what it is in a second. I'm just writing it down. You found a pair of short swords. They don't appear to have been humanly crafted. They look elvish in craft. Other than that, 94. There is a large egg as well. It seems to belong to a very large bird. Perhaps that was going to be their dinner tonight. I really hope I'm understanding this correct. I'm actually very quickly going to look up the magical items in here and just see if it's actually a magical item, because it could be that I'm referring to right now, and I don't want to misrepresent it because it's got a weird name, if that makes sense. Ah, okay. That's kind of funny. Okay, so it's a blue hard egg as big as a coconut and as heavy as a stone. That's what you guys have found. Oh yeah, and the value is, my apologies, 100 gold pieces. I'd say that is enough treasure, guys, to definitely afford you, each of you, with 2 experience points.
Sick.
I will
Who
add by
takes the
saying,
treasure?
yeah. What were you gonna say? Sorry, Duncan.
Oh, no, it's all right. We'll keep going with the treasure. I thought we were done.
Yeah, we are finished with the treasure. I was literally gonna ask, what do you guys want to do with it? I mean, imagine you open up the sack and like, kind of tip the contents onto the ground, and you're all kind of looking down at what they found. And you find this circlet, a pair of short swords, and this big blue egg.
I want one of those short swords. The rest of it, I imagine we can sell the bracelet once we get back to town. And I kind of think that the party should keep the egg around.
Yeah, I want to take a good look at the egg.
All right, so you take the egg. You can add the egg to your inventory. It takes up a gear
Yes, I
slot.
don't have any slots anymore, so I'll drop my grappling hook because I'm a wizard with a grappling hook.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
If anyone wants to pick it up, you can, but I throw it out in favor of the egg.
I'll
Cool.
take it and drop my strips of hide.
Okay.
What
Sorry.
what kind of armament do the hobgoblins have?
What kind of armor, like equipment,
Oh,
are they
weapons.
wear?
What kind
Our
of
weapons.
they have.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So, they all have javelins. One of them has a war pick.
Okay, I want to start taking all of their weapons over to where George and Tim are,
Cool.
and to all of the people over there, so the hobgoblins don't have weapons.
Nice. Yeah. So you take their weapons from them and you take them over to where Jamie and the rest of the expedition are.
Whilst Isabel's doing that, Duncan, with a surprisingly sort of spiteful, salty look on his face, walks over here and leans against this tree. Not leans, sort of, stands by the tree in the shade, mumbling, just let me know when we're done. Eh?
All right, Norman is gonna go over and chop the hand off of this hobgoblin right here, and
Cool.
once they, it looks like we got everything off these guys, I'm gonna be like, all right, take us to the mine. Once you're there, we'll let you go. If you try to pull any tricks, well, and I hold up the hand of their friend.
They all kind of look to each other and nod, kind of understandingly. If you're sure you want to go to the mine, then that's fine. Is that what you lot are looking for?
Yep. Now, lead away.
They nod.
Everything
Well-
okay, Duncan?
Hey Loki,
Yeah.
am I able to ask her to do a persuasion, or not a persuasion, a charisma check? Because he doesn't really feel like talking.
I don't
I mean, if that's-
I don't normally like player versus player roles.
Yep.
In challenges, so I'd rather you just kind of make a decision for roleplay flair, you know.
Fair enough. Duncan, squints the eyes and rubs the corners of his eyes with, finger and thumb, and he sort of waves a hand. I'm just, it's nothing. Look, just let's get going. Come on. He sort of shoves it briefly aside and shakes the shoulders. Come on, let's get a wriggle on, as I'd say.
Hobgoblins are now beginning to move out, and you realise, Isabel, that this is not the time nor place to talk to Duncan about his feelings. But you guys now begin to head out, and the afternoon begins to go by. The hobgoblins lead you through this area. They get lost a couple of times before finally arriving at the entryway of a tunnel, a mine shaft. You see the wooden supports erected. Some of them have bits of metal that are kind of forced into it to give it some extra support. But the actual shaft itself is in pretty poor condition. It looks like it's been excavated quite recently, as if maybe it had a cave in a while ago. But it seems to be open, and you guys can enter if you wish. The hobgoblins now turn to you guys, hoping to be allowed to go, as they have proven themselves useful.
Norman kind of nods and like, go that way. I see you circling back around and you are dead.
They nod. Alright, boys. Let's get out of here. And the hobgoblins now scurry away. You guys now stand in front of the entryway, and it's at this point that Miles says, "Looks like you guys have done it. Well done." I hope this is the mine that we've been hearing about. Looks like it.
Only one way to find out.
Perhaps. And George says, yes. It doesn't smell like it, though. And he kind of gives it a whiff, and the rest of you guys who are quite close can smell it too. It smells quite bad in there. Like decay and feces and urine. It's just got that very nasty smell to it,
Goblin shit.
basically.
This place is infested.
Yeah, Alistair, if you want to roll me an intelligence check whilst the party are travelling, you might try and be able to figure out what this egg is. What if it does
Okay.
anything?
That's a plain 10.
It is a plain 10, and unfortunately you're not able to figure it out. Obviously travelling whilst you're trying to do this doesn't really help. If you had access to a library or something, you'd be able to figure it out quite easily, you imagine.
Alright, I'll just write it down and keep it in mind.
Definitely, and obviously you've got the egg in your inventory now, so as long as you keep it safe, you should be good. But I will say the shell is very hard, and it's smooth to the touch. It's almost like a rock. But it looks like an egg.
Alright.
So, you guys are outside the front. You're at the entryway of this mine. Is there anything you want to do before you enter, guys?
Well, yeah. Just before we go in, Loki, the bounty hands, they take up one slot. Is
Each.
that yeah, each. All right. I guess I'm gonna have to drop one of those to carry those short swords.
It's up to you guys what you want to do.
Okay. Who has our torches?
I got torches. I've got 4 torches. Yes, 4 torches.
Remind me, do you use a shield, Norman?
I do not. I want to, but as of right now, I have no armor.
Fair enough. So let's be sparing with our torches and only burn one at a time. Do you want to carry it, or should we have maybe Alistair or one of the hirelings carry it?
I can carry it. Or actually, yeah, maybe I think maybe let the torchbearers be the torchbearers. I'm gonna give it to one of the hirelings. And
It's at this point that George kind of scoffs and he says, "Wait, you think we're going to be going in there? You've got another thing coming. If there's lots of hobgoblins and goblins in there, we can't go in there. We'll die."
Well, aren't you a coward?
And Miles kind of looks at you as you say that and looks back to George and tries to play like the mediator here as George starts to get angry at that comment. And Miles says, "What George is trying to say is that we don't know how to fight like you lot do. That's why we hired you. How about this? How about you investigate and see if what the hobgoblin said is true? There's a lot of them. I don't think it's a good idea for me and George here to head on in. I risk our gut if it's not going to be worth it. Who knows? This might not even be the right one."
all right, well, if that's the case, then here, I want you to hold on to some stuff for me whilst I go in, and I'm gonna take out all the hobgoblin hands that I have, and the bag of minerals I've been carrying around, and I'm going to give it to them, so I can free up some slots before I head on in.
Yeah, we'll set up a bit of a camp here. So at least you've got somewhere to retreat to if things get hairy. Does that
sounds
sound good?
safe.
It is, yeah. Is there anything you're doing whilst this is all going on, Jamie? Like, you're just standing around, or?
She's just kind of softly raising her hand, trying to offer to carry the torch.
Yeah, you got a volunteer for the torch, guys. Seems the priestess wants to accompany you guys inside. Who knows where it
Norman
could lead?
kind of looks at her and hands her a torch and just lets it out to her and waits for her to come and grab it.
Okay, she'll take the torch.
Alright, guys. 1 second. Hey Siri. Start a timer for 1 hour. You guys are on the clock. Alright. So you've lit the torch. You guys ready to head in? Who's gonna be taking point? Who's gonna be at the front?
I will.
You'll be first. Who wants to be second?
I'll take up second.
I'll stick with our back line.
I don't mind being third or somewhere in the middle.
Okay, first. Second. You're gonna be in the middle, Duncan? Is that what you said?
No, I said I'll take up the back.
You'll take the rear, okay.
Yep.
Cool, so we'll have the torchbearer in the center. Okay. Too sure why that's happening. Hopefully it works out okay. And there we go. So, with that in mind, you guys now head into the tunnel. And it's fair to say it is unusually narrow. It is very constricting and confining to walk through this space. For the sake of the purpose, we'll put you guys down here, actually. Lovely. Alright, I'm going to bring you guys to the map.
On the same timer as the torch we have going, I'd like to have Jamie offer to light up Isabel's weapon with a spell.
You happy for that as well?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I think that fails.
10, it's 10 plus 1, right?
Hmm.
So, with that in mind, you touch the weapon, and you try to, obviously stimulate this magic, make the weapon light up, but it's not.
It's too dark in here.
And you don't... Why do you think that is?
The sun hasn't seen this place in a long time.
That makes sense, yeah. But, that in mind, you guys now begin to move forward. Give me 1 second. Alright. Bring you guys to the map. Okay. Alright, here we are. So the tunnel itself is claustrophobic and winding. It's full of rubble and cobwebs. There is an eerie silence to this place. And it is very cold in here. It's strange going from being out in the sweltering sun, the way you were only moments ago, to now being in a place where the temperature has dropped, and it is a little bit unsettling walking through this space. That in mind, guys, we're now in the turn order. Can you guys click on your tokens and roll initiative for me, please? Sake of purpose, I'm just going to rearrange your tokens and have them in the order of which is going to work for this. We'll just swap you two around. Very good. Isabel, it's your turn.
I'm just
Imagine the
gonna
rest
move
of
up
you
to
guys.
the edge of the light.
Yeah, and imagine the rest of you guys can just follow up as well if you wish. Any actions as you guys are moving forward? Anything you're doing?
Hiding.
Hiding? Yeah, that's fair. You can roll me a
I
dex
just
check if you
want
wish.
to take a good smell as we enter, just to see if I can recognize any scents.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Don't know what that will be based on. Actually, you know, I think I'm just gonna tell you. So it smells like rot and decay here. There's almost like a smell of death in the air, Alistair, and it makes you feel a little bit nervous as a wizard.
Smell of death.
Yeah. If you have any follow-up questions, you might be able to gain more information about that. That's what you're kind of getting
like,
from
is
nothing.
it a smell of like decay of corpses?
Or what? Is that the question?
Well, like a scent of death is do I smell like in the sense of something I'd associate with death, like a monster's lair or anything, or actual death, like a corpse smell?
Roll me an intelligence check, Mr. Wizard.
Okay.
You're not
That's an
sure.
8. I'm not sure. Okay.
But I will say, as you guys kind of turn the court, well, kind of get to this point, you see that you're now on a crossroads. There is a tunnel that leads in every direction, and you guys don't know which direction to go in. As I said, it's winding.
We
What
should
sort
go
of
right.
tricks do you got there, priest?
Tricks?
Apologies, I should be a little more considerate. Divine miracles.
Oh, that's not up to me. That's up to the gods. But the only thing that I can truly call upon is light and healing.
Duncan from the back says, I got one.
You got one?
Yeah,
You
if I may.
you can cast divine spells, sir.
Well, I mean, I learnt this when I was young, and he sort of steps up, sort of pushing past. Excuse me.
Yeah, I move aside. I let you through. No problem.
Right. He takes his index finger, puts it in his mouth, pulls it out, holds it up in the air, closes his eyes, opens them again, and then 1, 2, 3. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. He points to the left. The gods will us go this way.
Norman is clearly trying to hide the fact that he found this extremely amusing. Well, priest, if you are a healer, I kind of gesture to the wound in my leg. Is this something you can
Oh my
do
goodness.
something about?
How did I not notice that before? I'm gonna try and call upon the Morning Lord to heal it for me. Nope. This place it smells of death. It just does not mend.
Oh my god. Oh no.
And yeah, I did have advantage on that.
Oh no. You had advantage on it.
Can I use a luck point?
You can use a luck point. Which means you obviously it's just one more check. You don't have advantage or anything on it.
Still nothing.
Can I use a luck point?
You can use a luck point to give her advantage again if you guys want to try and spam advantage on her to make it work.
I feel like this is something that we are really gonna need because
You
my
need-
healing is really hard to get off. Luck point.
You got another reroll. And
There you go.
there we have it.
That's a
4
4.
healing.
Sick.
So I imagine it takes a little while, like you're all kind of wondering if she's actually for real or not. This priest, if she's actually, or if she's just a charlatan. But after a round or two, eventually the magic now begins to radiate from her hands, and she heals Norman's wound, much to your delight.
All right.
All right, Duncan, lead the way.
I shall.
Feel free to.
As far as I can see.
Oh
As
shit.
you- As you head down the corridor, you come across 3 skeletons that seem to be alive. They now glare at you, Duncan and Isabel, as the two of you kind of walk into this space. But they don't immediately attack. The skeletons seem to be miners, held up with rotting ligaments and armed with pickaxes.
Duncan is, not that anyone else can see this, but he turns as pale as perhaps a ghost. His eyes are dinner plates. And he perhaps even shakes a little in fear as he starts to quiver.
Come away from them. Come on back. Let's try not
And
to
that-
provoke them.
And as you guys start stepping away, this one walks up to you, Duncan, and grabs hold
Duncan
of your arm.
screams.
It grabs hold of your
screams.
wrist. You scream.
Yeah, he's genuinely terrified. He, help, help, help!
For fuck's sakes, hit the damn thing.
For narrative's sake, can I move through Norman, Jamie, and Isabel?
Sure, you rush through, and as you come in,
I
you
want
realise
to-
now. I just want to say really quickly, Alistair, you realise what death is. This is necromancy in the air.
Exactly. I'd like
never-
to
yeah.
to cast protection from evil on Duncan, to
Go for it.
aid in his attempt at escape.
It's a red 23, but it's an advantage
have-
in it.
Permanent advantage from a talent.
Yeah, so with that in mind, you touch his shoulder and you imbue him with this protection magic. And it actually repels the skeleton and pushes the skeleton back. But all 3 of them are now looking at you guys, and they're looking at you as if you have interrupted them. You have interrupted their rest. You shouldn't have done that. What do you guys want to do?
We should run.
I think Duncan's acting as a barrier between us right now. Duncan, can you see anything further down that hallway?
He, no.
We're gonna need to clear these things out eventually. I don't imagine they'd be too hard to take care of, and these Loki, how would Kellum, I can't pronounce the god's name, the god of death, the
Pelennor.
neutral god. Yeah, how would he see these kinds of creatures?
That's an interesting question. One moment.
Would they be sacred or an abomination? Because that, depending on the answer here, is how Norman is going to react to these things.
So yeah, he is particularly opposed to necromancy and the creation of undead creatures. He views such practices as disrupting the balance and wishes for souls to move on to their rightful afterlife.
Then Norman wants these things dead.
Dead?
I
She
will-
just kind of looks at the skeletons.
Can I move
will-
here?
No, there's not enough space. It's really that narrow, unfortunately. You'd have to push to the front. But I will say, Jamie, as a priest, you would know that where there are skeletons and undead, there is someone or something that can raise them.
She'll just kind of bring that up that if they're walking dead, then there must be a necromancer of some kind around here.
So should we kill these things?
Yes,
I-
absolutely.
Yes. They must be released eventually.
I push to the front and throw my spear at this one.
Go for it.
I'll get ready to cast Turn Undead.
You throw your spear at one of the skeletons, and it is a very, very practical throw. It's a good throw from you, and it hits the ribs, it smashes a number of them, but the skeleton is still standing. If that had hit a hobgoblin, the hobgoblin would have been dead. These are harder to kill than hobgoblins. Perhaps less likely to be, to miss though, right? Because they're just kind of standing there, not trying to dodge out of the way. But I'd like you guys to click on your tokens, please, and roll initiative. Alrighty. Top of the round is, surprisingly, you, Norman, right at the back of the formation. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna push on up and try to finish off the skeleton that Isabel just hit.
Go for it.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Yeah, and I'm gonna try to smack it from right there.
Go for it. So you just rush through the party after Isabel throws her spear, and you slam into one of the skeletons, swinging your weapon. 6 misses. Now in position, this skeleton steps forward and attacks. And the way they walk, they don't walk with conviction. They walk just like a collection of bones that have been resurrected. They just shamble towards you, Norman, as he swings the pickaxe in your direction. Roll me a block check. DC 12. You succeed. You manage to block the attack. Or we now go straight down. Let me just make sure I've repositioned some people, because apparently, there we go. Next up, it's 7. And there's 3 of you that have rolled a 7. Alright, so can the 2 of you, Alistair and Isabel, please roll me a d20. See which of you is going to be going first. You are in competition with one of the skeletons. Wow. It's Alistair.
Okay. From the position where I'm standing, could I hit this skeleton, the one with the full health, with a magic missile, or is anything in the way?
I don't see why you couldn't, but I will say you are you have got a focus spell up currently, so can you please roll for focus?
Oh, yes, I do need to roll the focus.
That's good. It succeeds. And yeah, you may go for your magic missile attack. Oh, okay. So what do you want to do? Do you want to pick an additional target, or do you want to double up?
Would I have seen what Isabel saw, that these guys are tougher than the hobgoblins?
I mean, you watched her throw her spear at one of them, and it hasn't gone down.
Okay, then I just want to double damage.
All right, roll number d4. 5
5
points
damage total.
to the one that's right in front. And they're now both damaged. Some of the bones are starting to break off, guys. They are beginning to crumble, but they are not yet gone. It's now over to Isabel.
I step forward while drawing my sword, and I will swing at the one that's next to me.
Terrific, go for it. So the magic missile shoots by you, and as it does, you rush up, and that hits. You do 3 points of damage. The skeleton is crumbling, as suddenly another one steps forward out of the dark and swings towards you, Isabel. Roll me a block check. The DC is 12. Nice, so he swings at you with a war pick. What do you do to avoid the attack?
As I strike the one that's to my side, I just raise up my shield and catch the war pick and deflect it off to the side.
Very nice, thank you. Now over to the next skeleton of initiative 6, which is this one here. It's going to target Norman. Norman, block check. Worth mentioning that, oh wait, it's Duncan, isn't it, who's under the effects of protection from evil. Be aware, guys, when you're under the effects of that, you have advantage on block checks, okay? Nice and simple, that's how it works. And yeah, you managed to block it, Norman. How do you block it?
I will just block it how I usually do. I catch it with the hilt of my hand axe and push it away above my head.
Sounds good. Over to Jamie.
She'll just kind of hold up the torch and then a holy symbol, casting Turn Undead.
Holy shit.
Nope.
Rip.
Then she'll run away.
God, you've not had good luck today, have you? Over to Duncan.
Okay, Duncan's legs are jelly, but he forces himself to step forward. As he, almost Scooby-Doo-like fashion, peeks from behind his shield and goes to strike at this skeleton with his club.
I will say, Duncan, I'm liking the roleplay so far, so I'm going to give you a luck point. Don't use it though,
Thanks.
because that hit.
Yep.
And you actually smash one of the skeletons, and it crumbles. You've defeated
Duncan
one.
just cries out for it to be gone. As he
Still two more.
crushes it in.
Now get between me and the rest of them, you fucking fool! You have the enchantment on you.
He begrudgingly steps forward, though still visibly pale and terrified.
Over to you, Norman.
Okay, I'm going to smack this skelly boy again.
Go for it. And you smash the other skeleton to bits. That's 2. Still one more. Alright, Alistair and Isabel, D20s please. Skeleton's rolled high. Will it go first? It's not. So the skeleton now brings back its weapon and gets ready to swing at you, Duncan. As I need you to roll as well, Alistair, to see if you go before or after the
Yes,
skeleton.
I accidentally had my Shadowdark rulebook on my control key, so when I press roll, it refreshed the roll 20.
No worries. Alright, Isabel, over to you.
Yeah, so as it's about to strike Duncan, I'm gonna run in between Duncan and the skeleton, raising my shield up.
Very cool.
I want to end up here, and I'm gonna strike the skeleton.
Yeah, go for it. Nice, 2 points of damage. You strike true. Now, the skeleton's turn, and after you hit it, it tries to hit you back, Isabel. Roll me a block check. You managed to block it. Good blocks today, guys. Holy shit. Going well. Alistair?
Yes, I take a step forward. I make an focus roll for the protection from evil.
Yep. Oh, natural 20! I don't know what it does. I don't know what it does on a... Is there any rules for that? I don't even know.
I don't think there are any. I mean, normally it would be extending something, or like the first things that come to mind for me right now are either ignoring a next focus roll or maybe even another target, but it's completely up to you.
Yeah. I'll think about it. What do you want to do?
I just want to magic missile the skeleton that remains.
Alright, go for it, please.
Ooh. That's an 8.
That is an 8.
Can I use my luck point to have him re-roll that?
Yep.
I think it's better used on you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you a lot. And that's
Yep.
12 for 3 damage. Thank
It-
you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to do any damage for the rest of
I do
today.
I do hate to say this, but it would have gone off your first roll on the 2d20 KH1. And your first roll was a 2 on an 8.
Okay, so even with the permanent advantage, it's just 1 reroll.
I think that's how it works, yeah. I think the idea is when you use a luck point, you just
Yeah, that's fair.
roll one more dice.
So
I don't
it's
think you
still-
roll
still gone.
2. Unfortunately, yeah.
Oops.
Okay. There goes my damage spell.
There goes your damage as the skeleton fends you guys off. The skeleton has acted. Alistair has acted. It's now Jamie's turn.
She's just gonna hold the torch and stay behind Alistair.
Very good. It says, if you roll a natural 20 on your spellcasting check, you may double one of the spell's numerical effects. This remains in effect on a focus spell, see page 50, until your next focus check. That's interesting. Doesn't really say if it does work, so I think it's really kind of up to me to decide what happens. And I think in this situation, I'm going to say that the effect has been doubled to an ally until your next turn, Alistair. So who else would you like to be under the effects of it?
Then I'd go for Isabel, since she's the one in combat with the skeleton.
Cool. Alright, over to Duncan.
Okay, Duncan, and maybe only Isabel can see this, his teeth are clenched together so hard that in fact they might even flex and snap with how hard he's sort of holding them together, trying to stop them from chattering. He's just that afraid. He'll try and strike the skeleton again. I doubt that's a hit.
That is a miss.
He swings wide and just sort of stands paralyzed with fear.
Yeah.
I know I'm hammering that home a lot, but he really is scared.
Indeed. Norman.
Norman would like to move over here and try to hit the skeleton with the hand axe again.
Go for it. Very good. It's a crit. I mean, I don't think there's any other way you can really use that crit efficiently. So, do you want to do double damage?
Yeah, sure. I'll double the damage. Do I just double what I've
D6.
rolled or D6? Okay, sweet.
Yeah. Six points of damage. What do you do? Like, what's the attack? This does a lot of damage to the skeleton, but does not destroy it.
Could I take its head off?
Yeah, sure.
It's just
Yeah.
still moving around?
Yeah, you whack off its head, and the head is still chattering, and the body is still moving. Which probably just makes Duncan even more scared, to be honest. It's now over to initiative 7. Alistair and Isabel, D20s, please. Right, Alistair, you're first. Roll me a focus check.
Yes.
Succeeds, I think. Yep.
Yes, it should be 11. Well, I don't have any damage spells anymore. Would I be able to move over here, or is it too small of a space?
If half or more of the square is available, then you can. So I think in this situation, you can.
Okay, then I just want to whack him with my staff.
Go for it. How do you finish it off?
As he's facing towards Duncan and Isabel, I want to move behind him. And as he turns around, I just want to hit its skull with the tip of my staff so it turns around a couple of times before it falls off.
Very cool. And with that in mind, guys, the combat is over.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go for it, man. Jump straight in.
As soon as the skeleton stops moving, Duncan stumbles back, and graces Jamie as he falls to his knees against the wall with the sight of him vomiting. As he ups his guts all over the wall, trembling with fear. I'm not going to make that sound over the mic because that's gross, but yeah. He's busy hacking all over the wall.
Well, praise Kellamore. That are at rest. Do they have anything interesting on them?
No, they don't, unfortunately. It seems they have been decomposed for a long time. Anything they probably had on them, they probably dropped. They just have mining picks. They're wearing clothes. They're wearing, like, miners' clothes. That's it.
How much damage do the picks do?
That's a good question. I think they're D6 weapons.
Alright, then I don't need them. Yeah, at this point here, Norman is gonna try to make himself a stimulant.
A stimulant? What does a stimulant do?
It makes it so for the next 10 rounds, I cannot be surprised.
Very cool. What's the DC?
DC 12.
Alright, good luck. Oh, rip. You have
Dang.
failed.
Well, can't make that for the rest of the day.
We can't make that in general now until you find some more herbs. But remember, you can find herbs in dungeons, especially in locations where I say, oh, there's mushrooms and shit in this area. You're actually going to need to try and find some more herbs to restock now. That's what happens when you fail. But I will say that is the end of your turn, because that was an action to do that. So, what are you doing, Alistair?
I just want to move away sort of back towards the crossing. I just want to get away from these skeletons. I don't like being near undead, afraid they might reappear,
Yeah.
regrow. I just move away.
All right. Isabel?
I want to search in this direction.
Okay, so
Searching all this.
you kind of look around and nothing really seems to stand out. It appears to be a dead end. The walls seem to be chipped away as if miners have been here in past years trying to find minerals and whatnot, but there doesn't really seem to be anything on the walls here.
Okay, then I'll just grab my spear.
Yep, pick up your spear. Alright. Is there anything you guys want to do, or do you want to now regroup at the crossroads? Right, regroup at the crossroads then.
Yeah, we'll do that. As we're going, Duncan makes some comment about how the gods have abandoned us in this place.
It seems like it, yeah. Magic is not working. There's clearly some sort of devilry afoot. Yeah, I'm moving your tokens into the center. So there are 2 other directions, and also you can go south to return to the entryway as well. And remember guys, this is Shadowdark. Going into places like this, you don't normally do a full run. You know, like you don't just clear a dungeon in one day. Sometimes it takes a few days or more to clear a place like this. So it's not a bad idea to leave in the future if you guys feel like you're running out of resources.
If I may, as I'm standing sort of near this corridor or walkway here,
Yeah.
can I just lean in and try to listen, see if I can't hear perhaps the sound of mining, or, you know, picks hitting a wall or talking?
Yeah, sure. Move your token to where you want to be, and roll me a wisdom check.
I'll certainly give it a try.
Whilst this is going on, anybody else doing anything?
Yeah,
Has the-
Let's go with Isabel.
I'd like to move to the edge of the light to the right.
Okay, so are you being cautious? Are you trying to be quiet, or...?
Yeah, I'll try to be quiet. I'm just gonna move there.
Okay, roll a dex check.
Four.
Yeah. Imagine the light casts quite a big shadow over you, and the shadow kind of is on like the right side of you, right? So it's quite obvious if anybody was looking in that direction. But Duncan, you put your ear to the wall. You listen out for anything. And you can hear a song. Sounds like a woman singing. But it's beckoning you forward. I'd like you to roll me a check right now. I'm just trying to decide which one it's going to be for.
Fair enough.
I think this is to do with your mind. This is something that's playing on your mind, like a charm or something similar. I think that's probably going to be wisdom, isn't it? Unless it's different in Shadowdark. So, yeah. Roll me a wisdom check, please. The voice is quite beautiful and captivating, but ever so faint. And it sounds as if it's coming from the direction that Isabel is going.
Huh. And this is... Am I unwillingly being pulled forward?
I don't think you're unwilling. I think that you feel a bit calmer hearing this voice. It's kind of relaxing you, and you feel more comfortable, and maybe moving towards it would make you feel more comfortable yet.
Duncan, Isabel, you hear over your shoulder, Duncan sort of says, I didn't know you could sing like that. As he sort of 10, 15, 20, 25.
Do the rest of you follow off on behind?
Yeah, I'm gonna quickly follow behind him because this is strange.
Yeah, I want to follow
Yes.
as well, and I want to sniff again, checking whether now that the skeletons are dead, the scent of death is still as strong as it was.
So as you guys get to this point, I can't really put down tokens to describe what's going on in this area here, but it's a dead end, and it's full of miners, undead miners. There are 7 of them, and they're all just kind of, some of them are sitting down, some of them kind of look at you side, you know, like kind of like tilt their heads at you guys. They seem intrigued. You guys are here. One of them, holding its pickaxe, raises it up to its shoulder and looks at you guys, just stares at you guys with intent.
Is the singing coming from that corner for me?
It's coming from the north.
Well, that makes sense. Duncan looks at the, again, if I may, sorry, if anyone's
Yeah.
in. He looks at the undead creatures, is terrified of them, and turns to the north, seeking comfort. 5, 10, 15, 20.
You just watch as Duncan now starts running away and running to the
Jamie
north.
says, wait up, and then runs with the light.
As soon as the light moves away, I follow the light.
Norman follows behind, keeping an eye on the skeletons, but tries to move away from them quickly as he possibly can.
Okay. Give me 1 second, guys. As you guys get to this point, you see a woman standing in the open. She's looking towards you. And she stands almost like a statue. She doesn't appear to be alive, but she does not appear to be dead either. Her skin is colour of stone. There are many wounds across her body. She calls out and says, "And who might you be?"
I look over at Duncan.
Duncan's busy looking at you, Isabel, as his eyes clear from haze, and he looks at you, and I thought that it was, but I heard, I.
She now starts to sing the song that you heard as she walks slowly towards you all. You look at her attire, and she's wearing the same sort of clothes that all of the skeletons are wearing. But she's got sharpened pickaxe in one hand. And she says, "Have you come to help us?"
Isabella's getting creeped out, and she's just gonna throw her spear at this person.
Okay, go for it. You hurl your spear directly at the woman. And let me just set up her HP and her AC. It hits. She takes 5 points of damage, and immediately she scowls and screams and says, "No! You've come to hurt us! Just like the goblins!" Attack! Click on your token to roll initiative. You roll a 13. Round number 7. One second, guys. It's worth mentioning, as soon as she says that, the skeletons behind you now begin to shamble, realizing that you are indeed a threat. There's quite a few of them. As I said before. Okay.
That does not look good.
2, 4, 6, 8. Initiative. Very good. Torches. Yeah, I've got the tracker. I've got the timer still. All right, so you guys rolled. Is everybody rolled? 1, 2, 3, 4. Did one of you not roll initiative?
Oh, sorry. I think I could. Oh, I hit intelligence. My bad.
What the fuck are you doing? Oh my god. You're on a 16, so +1, 17. Initiative 17. Christ almighty. Alright, so yeah, it's your turn, Norman. You are at the rear. The skeletons that you saw, the miners that let you pass, they're now beginning to shamble towards your group. You realize you're getting surrounded. What do you want to do?
Okay, we can't fight all these things. If I stay here, I'm very much going to die. So I am going to run up over here and just scream, Isabel, stand down. Wait. Sorry, we did not know that you were friend. We are here to get rid of the hobgoblins. We assumed that you were in league with them. They brought us here and told us that this was a hobgoblin cave. We just assumed you were in league with them.
Roll me a charisma check, Norman. She pulls the spear from her chest. She has no blood upon it. It's almost like her body has been drained of any real life. And now with the spear in her hand, she just drops it to the ground. And looks at you and says, "You made a mistake coming here and attacking me. For I am cursed and can never die." She now steps back into the darkness, laughs and says, "Brothers, sisters, kill the intruders." Alistair, the energy in this place is palpable. It is malignant. It is evil beyond belief. And your spidey senses, your wizard senses, are just going crazy right now in this place. What do you want to do?
Okay. My damage spell is gone, so I want to cast Mage Armor on myself to at least increase my survivability.
Yeah. That succeeds.
That succeeds. Let's see. That lasts for 10 rounds, so I'll just put a 10 if that's even possible.
Yeah.
It goes up to 5. It's
1 second. I can do something for you in this
Okay.
situation. I can do something for you.
I'll just quickly change my AC on my character sheet.
That's not actually really gonna work, is it? Fuck. Just write down, you know, what.
Yeah, I'll just write it on a piece of
Write it
paper
down.
here or something.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
We're
I'll
in
try-
turn 10 now, so at turn 20 it will be gone.
Yeah, sure. Alrighty, so
Isn't it rounds, not turns?
it is rounds, yeah.
It's
It's round 7 right now, so 17 would be the end.
Yeah, it's true actually. If we're looking at the actual tracker that we have on the turn order, because some of them
You
are
can
just
also
yes, I
gonna
was
skip.
looking at the count on top, but yeah, it's 7, so it's 17.
Sometimes I have to like fix everything, and it skips a couple of ones. You know, it's not too big of a deal. But yeah, you're under the effects of mage armor. Which one? What does that do?
It changed my armor to 14.
Cool.
Are you
Isabel?
doing anything else?
Yeah, you doing anything
I
else,
just
or
move back here to grant passage to the rest if they want to attack or anything, and mainly also to protect myself.
Isabel? You realize in the moments after throwing that spear that you might have just signed everybody's death warrant. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna draw my sword and say fall back, and then I'm gonna start moving backwards.
Right. Where'd you move?
I will move here.
Cool. And you're gonna try and like hold off that corridor and keep the skeletons at bay?
Yes.
Very good. Alright, and it's at this point that the skeletons begin to pour out and attack. Fortunately, Isabel has kind of held off the area. But, Isabel, I want you to roll me a block check, please. First one comes in, swings, you bring up your shield, you block it. Next one comes in, another block check, please. And last but not least, one more attack from the third one. You managed to block all 3 attacks as the skeletons come rushing in, trying to bring you down to defend, assumedly, their matriarch, their leader, this mysterious woman. But yes, you managed to hold them off. But these aren't the only skeletons that now move forward, as others now come into the light. Is it these ones as well, actually? Let me just check. Okay, never mind, actually. My apologies. These ones don't move. It's just the 2s that do. So that would be this one, and this one. Cool. Alright, 2 attacks coming in. One against Norman, one against Duncan. I'd like both of you to please roll me a block check. The DC is 12. You managed to block it, Duncan? Will Norman be able to? You both managed to fend off the skeletons, but more of them are coming, and you realize, guys, you are getting overwhelmed here right now. More flood into this space. One of them's actually going to move up alongside the others. And they're all wearing the same attire, you know, this mining attire. These are miners that have been brought back from the dead. Why are they down here? Why are they dead? That's something that I'd imagine it's going through your mind, Alistair, for only a few moments before you realise that you need to run. One of them is going to try and attack Duncan. Roll me a block check, please. That is a d6 points of damage to you. And one of them whacks you in the side, and you go down. Duncan, I want you to roll me a d4. Add your con modifier to it. Let's see how many rounds you have.
That's 5.
5 rounds. Okay, let's put the 5 on you. Very good. Jamie.
I'm just gonna try and do that cure wounds and call out, please, gods, do not abandon us. And they abandon us.
Anything else?
10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
Yeah, you're able to squeeze past Isabel and get around the skeletons. Norman.
Well, now that I'm in the dark, I would like to try to, fireman carry Duncan and, rush towards the light.
Yeah, so you grab hold of Duncan, you try and lift him up. Roll me a strength check. I think no matter what, you will succeed, but if you roll low, I'm going to have one of the skeletons attack you, as usually. Alright, I want you to roll me a block check with disadvantage, please. Take a d6 points of damage as you lift Duncan up, and now you fireman's carry him, hopefully, to safety. 6 points of damage.
Fuck, I'm down. Wait, no, I'm not. I've got 3 points left.
15, 20, 25. You guys managed to get there. Isabel, it's your turn. I will say you do realise that now you running away, you have left open the rest of the party. Just so you know that, Isabel. You want to go through that?
Yeah, we have to keep moving. Otherwise, I mean, we're all going to be dead.
Sure, but remember, Norman is trying to carry somebody. He is not able to defend himself properly in the situation. Just letting you know. Alistair, be aware you can dash as an action, guys. That is a thing you can do. So make sure to use it if you have the opportunity to, I guess. Alistair?
I can't exactly see the
10 feet, you're now in view.
10 feet, okay. So I would be able to move behind Jamie.
You would, yeah.
I want to move there. I don't want to dash because I want to use my action to, as I'm passing Norman, Mage Armor doesn't have the focus tag. Does that mean I can cast a focus spell while having Mage Armor?
Yeah.
Because then I want to cast Protection from Evil on Norman as I pass him.
Alright, go for it.
Thank you, Alistair.
Alrighty.
16.
So, yeah, so you managed to put the spell on Norman. You're now under the effects of Protection from Evil and Good. I'm looking for the little muscle icon. There it is. It's now the turn of the skeletons. Only 2 of them are able to attack, and they're both going for you, Norman. I want you to roll me a block check, please.
With advantage, right? Because of the...
He's carrying
I'm
someone.
carrying- Yeah.
Ah, yes,
Do I
of
roll
course.
do I roll a block check for each skeleton?
I need you to roll me. Well, you might already be down, so I need you to roll me a d6. Tick tock. That mind, one of the skeletons hits you in the back. You buckle and face plant into the floor alongside Duncan.
Rest in pepperonis.
That's that then.
With that, with you down as well, skeleton next to you guys is just gonna kind of look down at Duncan, look down at Norman, and they're now just gonna halt and just glare at you guys. None of them can really do anything at this point. The ones behind can't really run through. There's just too much kind of meat in the way, too much bone in the way. Duncan, roll me a con check, please.
Certainly can. Sorry, let's.
14. That's one level down. 4 rounds to go. The timer is over, which means the torch that has been lit goes out to add insult to injury. The skeletons in the night now have full advantage on you guys. And Jamie, it's your turn.
I'm gonna blindly run towards the exit.
All right. 10, 15,
Dash
20,
if possible.
Yeah, you run towards the exit. Norman, I need to roll me a D4, please. I don't know if you're supposed to roll for if you're supposed to roll like for one of them on the round when you actually start doing it. I think you do, don't you? Actually, and if that's the case, then actually, Duncan, I need you to roll me another one, please.
Another D4, did you mean?
Another D20, please. I think when you start your death save stuff, you like when you actually roll for how many rounds you've got, you've also got to roll a con check or a D20 to see if you kick back up with 1 hit point or not. Otherwise, it's like, what's the point saying it's 5? It should be 6, right? If you're staying up for 6 rounds.
Yeah. Do I also roll a con check?
Yes, please. 19. Wow, you both rolled so well as well. When you rolled a 4, is there any con modifier on that, Norman?
No.
Okay, so it brings you down to 3. Okay. Isabel.
I'm gonna follow Jamie out,
Okay.
seeing as I don't have a torch.
It's dark and dreary in here. You just rush towards the exit. Alistair? What do you want to do? Alistair?
Sorry, I muted myself because I was coughing. I'm following Jamie and Isabel outside, feeling really bad about abandoning Duncan and Norman, but there's nothing in my skill set that could possibly help them.
Yeah, so you run outside as well. And with that in mind, everything fades to black. If you guys don't know what happens to Norman or Duncan, and I want to find out privately. So I am going to quickly drag Norman and Duncan to another channel and have them roll some checks for me. Okay?
Radio.
We'll be back in a minute. Alrighty guys, I'd like you to each please roll me a con check.
All right.
Okie dokie. On the Roll20 or on the Discord?
That's actually a really good idea. So no, do your
Oh.
first one. Do your first one in Roll20. So just
Okay.
Duncan's already done his. You can do yours, Norman. Holy shit!
Oh no fucking way!
Holy fucking shit! So
Perhaps there is a hope in hell.
So with that in mind, you actually wake up with 1 hit point, and you're like face down in the dirt, and you look around, and the skeletons have actually began to move back to their original position. They're not chasing them out. That's not they seem to just be defending this place, right? But they now, go back to their previous positions. They just start sitting down again, and for all they're aware, they assume that you're dead. What do you want to do? You look to your side and you see Duncan is still face down in the dirt.
How do I see this right now?
I mean, it's pretty much pitch black in here, isn't it? Right? But
yeah.
you can see his outline. He's right next to you. Because it's fair to say there is obviously like the entryway is just to the west of you guys. So I imagine you could see just a little bit of light that's kind of, running into the space towards where the crossroads is to your left. But you can hear the skeleton shambling away. You can hear the sounds of Duncan's quite heavy breathing, as assumedly he's starting to go into cardiac arrest or something similar.
Okay, I want to make a salve and rub it into his wounds, and do that as quietly and as subtly as I possibly can.
Roll me a dex check right now. Let's see if you guys
Advantage on
die here.
stealth?
Yeah. What does it actually say anything about like how you get stealth, or is it just generalized like a rogue?
It's just It's so it's just Wayfinder. You have advantage on checks associated with navigation, tracking, bushcraft, stealth, and wild animals.
There you go. You got advantage on stealth. I mean, I'm okay to rule it that way, because it's not like you guys have a rogue anyway. Or sorry, a thief, even. Okay, roll for yourself, and I'll tell you what happens. Goes off, right?
Yeah, that'll work.
So you get out your satchel as you lay on the ground, and you start grinding the herbs together with a mortar and pestle, and you do it as quietly as you can. You don't know if the skeletons can see you or not. You don't know if they see in the dark. But you've got intent here. You're focusing on this. At the end of the round, you've got the salve in your hands, and you now reach over towards Duncan. And what do? Do you just apply it to his wounds, or do you make him swallow it?
I apply it to his wounds, and then I put some right on his upper lip to kind of like act as like a smelling salt to like make him like pop
Wake
up
up.
awake.
So it takes a round, but Duncan, you start now to come to, and it's incredible how quickly the salve begins to work. The herbs in this campaign, they are magical herbs, and they have magical qualities to them that make them not the same as a healing potion, but it's almost instantaneous relief, right? It's like morphine, magical morphine, right? And Duncan, your eyes open, and somehow you're alive, and you look around, and you just see 2 eyes looking back at you in the dark, laying down next to you.
Just real quick, did I just move on the map, or was that just...
No, you're both exactly where you fell, unfortunately.
Yep. Sorry, I thought I saw it move. Anyway,
I'm gonna bring you guys back to the other channel, I think, for this, if that's all right.
Yep, sure.
Yeah, no problem.
But I want you to continue from where we left off. All right.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm back. We're gonna continue with these boys. Something's happened. So it seems, guys, that Norman came to. And he's made a salve and applied it to Duncan. And the skeletons have kind of gone back to their original positions. Duncan, what do you do? What do you say?
Duncan is gonna whisper in a trembling, sort of barely coherent voice. We got it. Cruel.
I think we can make a break for it. I think that's the best way to do that. I can see the light at the end of the corridor, right?
Yeah.
Loki? Yeah. I'm like, if we run, we can get out, and we'll be on open fields. It looks like these things haven't been following the rest of them. Yeah. On my mark, if that's something that you're okay with.
Well, I have to be, don't I?
Yes, you do. You do. All right. You ready?
As the dead.
1, 2, 3. And on 3, Norman pushes himself up and begins booking it over to the light. Just full speed dash.
I will do the same. Or at least attempt to.
The two of you now begin to run towards the exit. As we now pan over to the rest of the party. We're rewinding time slightly. You guys have made it out of the caves, and you've now alerted the rest of the expedition. And George says, "Undead? You're kidding me."
We don't have time for that. We have 2 men we need to save now.
And he kind of looks at the 2 men that are with him, and looks at him and Miles, and he says, "There is no way that we are going in there and fighting against hordes of skeletons."
I never said anything about fight. We just need backup to get them out.
This is absurd. Miles, you must agree with me on this. Miles, he kind of looks at it, looks down at his hands, and he looks at you, Isabel, and says, "I'll help if I can." The other 2 men seem willing to help.
I'll try and light a torch.
Yeah, you strike a torch. And as you guys now begin to enter, and you light up the way, you give Norman and Duncan the light they need, as you now see them both running round the corner. And you're completely shocked seeing these 2 running. You thought they were dead, or dying. But now they rush towards you guys, and essentially into your arms, as you now all find yourselves outside of the tunnel.
Yeah, I want to embrace whoever comes out first. Just in a...
Probably Norman.
As
Yeah.
Alistair's trying to mentally process the experience of seeing the 2 of you drop before his eyes and having to leave you behind, not knowing what to do, and then seeing you return. He just wants to embrace whoever comes out first. Probably Norman.
Norman falls into his fucking arms, just like hugs the wizard, and then realizes that he's still at the Cave of the Mouth, now looking just as scared as Duncan was not too long ago. He just begins moving as quickly as he can away from the mouth of the cave.
Really good stuff, guys. Well done. I want to give Norman inspiration. Your quick thinking.
Sweet, thank you.
I mean, sorry, I need to get used to saying luck. I'm gonna give you a luck point for that. But yeah, you guys have made it out. I will say, guys, the situation was a very bad one, and I think the two of you each are going to need to roll for a potential lingering injury, if that's okay. As you had a very
Absolutely.
near, there's still a chance. There's a chance that you might not get one. It's like a check. I think it's a con check. Just give me a second to get it up on the screen so I can see it and other people can see it. It's the enduring wounds system. So yes, can I please have a con check from the two of you, please? DC is 12. Oh, Duncan's fine. But Norman.
I'm not.
Let's see. I really hope you don't roll a natural one right now. This would be a real shock if you just came outside and had a heart attack in front of everybody. Could you roll me a d20, please? Just a flat d20. It's not too bad. So, as you come outside, and yeah, you do what you do, you say what you say, you kind of collapse to the ground. And you almost collapse face first into the sand and into the dirt. And if I'm being honest, nothing really happened. You rolled high enough that it's not really going to be a negative effect. But for temporarily, you're blinded by all the sand and dirt that's in your eyes.
Norman's just gonna stay there, and just kind of like you hear like a little.
I'm gonna let go of Duncan, and I'm gonna just pull Norman's face out of the sand and dirt.
He's kind of like semi-conscious, just like drooling down his face a little bit, like hi, Isabel.
Priestess, it looks like he needs some help. I yell over to Jamie.
Duncan, in response to that, he takes off his leather cap and throws it at the ground with, some amount of rage as he sort of shouts, "She can't offer any help. She was right. There can be no divines in this horrid place." Duncan looks at the sort of group of us. Who are we kidding? Right? I'm a useless wretch who can't even swing a goddamn stick about. We're all getting our backsides kicked in, and we nearly got ourselves killed. This is folly. He's an old man. And he points at Alistair. He points at Isabel. I can't really criticise you. And Norman, well, you boss me about. This is silly. What are we doing this for anyway? Money? We're risking our lives for money? What are we doing here, guys?
None of us could have expected what was in there. So many skeletons waiting for us. It's just unbelievable.
Norman like starts coming to a little bit, and it's like, what time of day is it, Loki?
It's mid-afternoon. It's probably approaching sunset.
He like starts like pulling himself up, and he's just like, I'm gonna go find some medicine. If anybody would like to accompany me,
I think you need to rest.
I'll rest when the night comes. No, we shouldn't be near here when the night comes. Let's go set up camp somewhere else, far away from this place.
As Norman says this, I make a move to follow him, but I do want to check the expressions on the faces of the miners, whether they are set on staying here or not.
The miners, like the prospectors, you mean?
Yeah, the prospectors.
Yeah, so the prospectors are obviously really kind of startled by all this, and they're questioning whether this is even a good idea in general either. And Miles says, I think it's probably a good idea that we get away from here for now and just find somewhere safe to rest.
Considering that Alistair is from the nearby village, town, city, um, would you recall any legends or anything about like a plague of undeath or something that could be linked to this, or is it a complete surprise that undead even exists in this area?
That's a really interesting thing to ask. Roll me a intelligence check. And I think, if I'm being honest, being in the library, I'm gonna give you a luck point. You can use it if you want, or you can save it.
For roleplay purposes, I think I'll save it because I think Alistair would have been locked up in his tower, not really, well, not his tower, but the magic tower thing in the city, not
Yeah.
really bothering with the outside world. But
Sure.
this will come in useful someday, so I'll write it down.
Cool. Yeah, you don't really know too much about whether anything really happened in the last couple of hundred years in regards to necromancy. You are aware that it's supposed to be like you think at least there's supposed to be like a shrine or a temple nearby. So maybe you should try and look for some more statues.
I want to face Jamie and ask her, you were coming in this direction as a holy person. Were you actually looking for this
Yeah.
place, or were you?
Yes, I was in search of the Temple of the Morning Lord here.
Okay, so then that would perhaps be a safer, or at least better focus for our journey than trying to attempt this place again.
I should certainly hope that it's in better condition than that mine. I've been around these parts for a while, and I think I can see something on higher ground here. A small statue, and she's going to investigate it.
So you kind of point to it, and you start trying to climb up. And you look at the statue. It's obviously pretty small, but it's a cat, almost like a sphinx cat, and on its side is a sun. It seems to be kind of engraved onto the cat. It's quite interesting, and what I will say is, as you're kind of like standing here, you see alongside the statue there is kind of cobblestone mixed into the earth here, and you realize that you might be actually on a path. It seems to be actually heading further up to higher and higher ground. Because you're on very low ground right now, guys. The entryway of this mine. Around you, there's a lot of high ground. You're like right at the bottom of this. So I wouldn't say it's a crater, but definitely a nestled area. Right now, Isabel, the prospectors don't really know what to do. They need to talk about it, think about it. They weren't aware that there was undead in here. So they're gonna think about it and probably get back to you guys.
Okay.
But
Perhaps we could follow Jamie and move up the hill, regroup,
Yeah.
replan over there, instead of waiting at the entry to this cavern of death, just waiting for them to pour out when night comes.
Yeah, I was gonna basically say the same. Duncan will stick with the group, though very clearly he's not happy.
yeah,
As he begrudgingly takes up his leather cap and trudges up the hill.
Duncan's one more bad situation away from retiring from adventuring and just joining the militia. As if he can survive. But Norman has saved your life. See if your character remembers that in the future.
We shall
Right.
see.
So you guys now begin to head up the hill. You guys are feeling sore, worn down, tired from all the traveling you've done, but it does not take you too long to reach the top. And what you discover are stone pillars that have fallen and crumbled. You get the impression that this was once a temple, but it seems much of it has collapsed, leaving very little remaining. What is left, however, is a staircase that leads down, and the stairs are made of stone, and the area around the stairs is slightly sheltered from the sun. It's shaded. I will say, as you guys get to this point and look around, this is quite a nice high point. It does make sense to you, Jamie, that this could be the temple. I mean, Lathander's temples are always high off the ground, always on hills, because obviously the idea is to be closest to your god, right? But yeah, you guys stand outside of this, in this ruin. And Miles says, "Well, we have found something here. Some sort of temple or shrine. And it's right above the mine. How weird."
I certainly hope that it hasn't been defiled and that there are offerings that we can subsist off of for the day.
Do any of you guys want to say or do anything?
What's the time of day right now?
It's approaching dusk.
Approaching dusk.
Do you guys
Norman
want to...
starts trying to put together a camp, being that his vision's still blurry from all the dust and sand that got in his eyes. He's
Yeah.
and possibly a minor brain injury. He's just kind of like looking around, like, and he attempts to do something. Whether or not he's effective at it, I'll leave that up to Loki. But after that, he just eats some of the meat that he has in his
I mean,
pack and goes
that's
to
good
sleep.
enough. That's good enough. You know, you're starting to work on a camp. What about the rest of you guys? What are you doing, Duncan?
I will help in putting together the camp, even if it's just lifting, firewood or something.
Right, okay. Isabel?
I'm going to go talk to the prospectors and try to convince them to go convince the local lord to send troops to clear out the mine.
Okay, so you start talking to Miles and George about that. Alistair? Jamie, you guys are both standing in the ruins of a ancient temple. It's a pretty interesting place, but it's completely crumbled on this floor. There's nothing really left, but there is a lower floor, which you think is probably also a part of the temple.
Can I check the stairs, whether they're like, are they dusty, or does it look like they've been used recently?
You look to the stairs and it seems to have been used. And actually, as you stand on the steps, you can hear goblin speech down there. That's more like it.
Goblin speech. Orcish and Goblin are different, right, in Shadowdark?
Yeah.
Okay, I do speak Orcish, I don't speak Goblin, but I want to move back to where Jamie's standing. Jamie, there are goblins or something down there. I don't think I'm afraid that the place might have been defiled. There might be danger down there.
This is horrible. We're in no condition to fight.
The interesting thing is they're speaking very loudly down there. Hobgoblins don't seem to be very good at, remaining quiet, and they seem to be doing a lot of the same of what they did last time when you did that random encounter. They're just yelling at each other, making a lot of noise.
Can I
It's interesting.
discern an amount of different voices?
That's an interesting wisdom check for that. I think that does require a roll.
Ooh, I'm
Ooh,
rolling bad today.
You are rolling bad. You get the impression less than several, but you don't know how many. It could be a couple. It could be 6.
Okay. Are there any large pieces of rubble or anything? Like, could we cover up the entrance?
No, there's not enough rubble. Unless you were to... No, I don't think you guys could lift up the big pillars that have fallen, I think.
I'm a weak, frail old man.
Yeah, I don't think you guys have got enough fighters for that, even with grit.
It's just the story of Samson would bring down the temple.
Yeah. This place is all crumbled. But it seems the lower floor is still very much intact. But yeah, the conversation between you is Isabel and the men, they seem very conflicted. They came here specifically to try and find this mine and clear it potentially, and obviously that doesn't necessarily seem possible. Do you explain what you found down there? The woman that you met.
Yeah, I'll explain that there's some woman I threw a spear into her chest and she pulled it out and there was no blood.
And Miles says, "It's probably a necromancer then. Do we know what she wants?"
Norman, after hearing "Do we know what she wants?" peeks up and has a moment of clarity, and he just looks around. He's like, "I have an idea. The hands I gave you, give them back to me. I can use them as a peace offering. She doesn't like the hobgoblins. They've come and they've hurt her. After I rested for a few days, maybe that'll be our best." And then he passes out and starts snoring.
Oh, that's unfortunate. He looks okay, but he's going to need some days to rest, as he just said.
Alright, well, hopefully we can survive long enough. There are hobgoblins and undead around. Does it sound like a really safe place for us to be setting up camp?
No, unfortunately not. And they seem to be mining for ore, metal, or maybe trying to uncover something down below.
Maybe we should get back and then speak to the bailiff.
He pauses for a moment and he nods in agreement. But George scowls and he says, "We can't go back. We spent all of our money putting this expedition together. If we go back, we have nothing."
George is the one that's been hesitant, right?
Actually, he was hesitant to go into the mines, but he's a practical man. And, like, he's not a warrior. He's not going to risk his life fighting against undead. He's not got the same sense of honor that you guys have as adventurers. He's got a different creed that he follows. He's very stern. He seems actually very self-assured of himself. He seems to know exactly what he wants to do. But, yeah, he's very against going back and explains that. We have nothing. We go back.
So then what's your plan?
I don't know. And he ponders it for a moment. He says, Do you lot have any idea what the man said? He points to Norman. That wasn't too bad. I wouldn't
I
be
don't think
willing to
it'll
take
work.
the risk myself, but if you did, we can hold the outside. We can help in whatever way we can. As I said before, me and my associate, we understand the ore around here, the stone work. We understand how to move through places like this. And Miles says, well, what about the stairway? Do you think there's anything down there? Do you think there are undead down there?
I'm not
Well,
sure, but if you want to exploit the resources from this mine, then you're going to need to clear out the undead.
Or at least the necromancer. Perhaps if she were slain, then the undead would be mindless and could just be lured away.
you got something there. Do you think that'll work?
Well, she did seem to be at least a bit injured by the spear in her chest, even if there was no blood, so.
Sounds like a risk. If you lot go down, we won't get back either. But the problem is, and he turns to you, Isabel, and he says, if we go back to the Lord will not give us any audience if we don't have any information. That's as simple as it is. If we don't have information, or even if we were to get in front of the Lord, if we don't come with anything substantial, any proof of what we've found, they won't send men. So we need to find something. We need to find some ore, something of value. I know we have a bit of ore in this bag here, but it's not enough.
So specifically, what do you need?
We need to prove to the Lord that this is worthy of his cause. To send men.
And what would be worthy to prove to the Lord that
He
we have
pauses
something
for
obtainable?
he pauses for a moment. He says, "We need a big piece of ore, something substantial, or we need to get in this temple, find some treasure, and bring it back, because that might get him to come and all. If he knows there's more treasure to be had, he might send more men. I will say though, that means that me and my associate will be getting paid, and sure, you guys will get paid for bringing us back, no problem. But the Lord isn't gonna let us lead that operation. I doubt it. He's got commanders and knights to do that kind of thing. So it's up to you whether you want to do it or not.
Well, we're definitely going to need some time to recover. At least my companions here.
Right.
I was going to say, yeah, Duncan takes off his cap and wipes his brow, and he said, I concur. We'll be doing no more spelunking until we've at least had one night's rest. So I think we should retreat into the foothills, away from danger. Just far enough so that we're, a few hours away.
I don't think
Then
we're going to be getting very far. It's getting very dark out. You lot look very tired. I'm feeling pretty tired and all. If we do get anywhere, it's going to be not too far from here. At least here we've got the high ground, don't we?
Well, we have goblins around here.
It is worth mentioning, guys, you are, like, at the end of your daily mileage. You could push yourselves, but then you'll be risking exhaustion. Which will just slow you guys down even more.
Duncan says, well, I suppose we'll just have to pull watches then.
If that's what it takes, I think we should do it.
I wish it didn't have to
We
be
need our
like
rest.
this. This place is dangerous. We all know that. If we try and get down here and find somewhere else, who knows what we're going to stumble into. At least right here, right now, we're safe. Right? As he looks over at George, George seems to be kind of scattered with thought, right? He's not really focusing on this, but he just suddenly nods at what Miles says. He's trying to come up, you see George is trying to come up with some sort of plan, some sort of idea. But I'm not intentionally trying to sound befuddled as a DM. I'm trying to represent that these guys really just don't know what to do. They weren't expecting this.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that, Duncan shrugs and, well, let's get a fire started.
Alright, so you guys, there is no wood in the immediate area, so do certain players want to go out and try and find wood, or do you want to use some torches?
If we're planning on doing more spelunking, I think our torches are precious.
They are, but
Yeah,
if you go out to try and find firewood, you're risking a random encounter from just doing that.
I already have a lit torch that I'm going to contribute.
Okay, so if you guys have 2 more torches,
I've got 3 torches left in my bag.
anyway, guys, you can also think creatively. It's not just I would allow other things that aren't torches. Anything that's flammable could take its place.
Okay. I stole a hobgoblin shield the last game.
That's made of
Would
wood.
it be made of, I was going to say, yeah,
Yeah, it'd
it's
be made
not
of wood.
ideal, but, Duncan will toss it to the ground with again, begrudgingly, just use that, he says.
I'd say the torch that's already lit and the shield broken up can be made into a makeshift fire, and that will manage to give you guys the light you need to avoid having a random encounter rolled every hour, which wouldn't be very nice at all. You need a light to be able to keep away from the dark, I suppose. Alrighty,
Yeah.
so guys, before you go to sleep, is there anything anybody wants to do? Obviously, Norman's already asleep.
If I may,
Yeah.
no one else has anything. There's a moment where, when we're sitting around the fire, maybe eating something or drinking water, Duncan's removed his cap, and is sort of looking kind of earnestly at Isabel, and he sort of scratches his head. He says, I thought that, or maybe it wasn't. Were you singing?
No. It was that creepy lady that was. Don't you remember? She started singing in front of us.
I remember that bit, but that was only after I sort of realized what was going on. It always sounded like it was coming from you.
No, I wasn't singing.
Or maybe it was just the direction. He sort of puts his hands in his head in his hands. I'm useless.
No, you're definitely not useless. Before you were saying something about that you couldn't swing a stick around. Perhaps I could show you some useful techniques for when you get into a fight.
He sort of. You'd do that for me?
I nod.
Thanks.
Of course.
No one's ever offered to help me like that. I've always been on my own, you see.
Well, if you're going to be traveling with us, it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah. I guess for once I can accept someone else's help. Willingly, that is.
I will smile and nod.
So, sitting around the campfire, you guys doze off. Some of you are on watch, some of you are sleeping, and you alternate throughout the night. The hours now slowly begin to roll by. You each need to mark off one of your rations. I think it's fair to say that the rations are being held by 2 people. So I think those people need to mark off rations.
All right, I've marked off mine. I've got two more rations left.
I think Alistair's got a bunch, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got 9
Alistair's
in
holding
total,
inventory.
so I can just mark off.
One of Duncan's, one of Isabel's.
Exactly.
Cool. And Jamie, you have your own rations, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just mark off one of yours. As the hours now roll by. As it comes past midnight, you look up into the sky. Alistair, you see the stars before you. Are you much of an astronomer? You look
I
for...
I
You look
think
to the
I've
stars?
dabbled in it.
You've dabbled in it. Well, there are others in the tower that do it a lot. And I think your mind probably goes back to them. Thinking about the tower and the big telescope that's on the upper floor. You wonder what they're doing right now. Probably all in bed having a nap. Having all sleeping at the moment. But stars are beautiful. Part of you wishes that you had come out sooner to actually experience life. You know, being locked up in a tower for years and years. Was really no way to live. You know?
Yes, I think today has been, despite the intense danger and harm we face, I think it's been the most exciting thing I've ever done in the last probably 70 years or so.
Yeah. That in mind, you and Duncan are currently on watch. And as you sit around, you both now notice a large shadow beginning to form over you all. And it's getting bigger and bigger as it's approaching.
Duncan looks at Alistair and sort of whispers, "That ain't a rain cloud, is it?"
It looks dangerous.
It's the shadow of a creature. It's flickering onto the light. It's getting closer and closer.
Should we wake the others?
3, 2,
Someone wake us
Yes.
up, you fools.
1.
Yes, I
Zero.
start shaking the person next to me.
As you start shaking
What?
one of the hirelings up, you see coming into view now, before your very eyes, Miles. It was Miles all along. He says, "You two look like you've seen a ghost. Was just taking a shit."
Duncan sort of grits his teeth again, and Miles can see that it looks painful. He's gritting his teeth so hard that, as I said before, they might flex and snap. He says, "We almost made you a ghost. Why would you do that?"
I wasn't gonna poo near the camp. You don't want to smell it. I promise you that.
He just sort of,
He
fine.
sits down nearby, and gets back in his sleeping bag and goes back to sleep as if he didn't do anything wrong. You're the ones who are fucking stressed out right now.
Telling me.
Next couple of hours go by. The wind picks up. Something fierce. But other than that, the night goes by and morning now comes. No random encounters, guys. I rolled a 5, a 6, a 5, and a 5. Lucky you.
Fair enough.
And with that in
Five
mind, you
every
guys
day.
can, yeah, you guys can roll for health. If you need to regain it, you can roll your hit dice to reclaim some health.
We did have a really cool Miles encounter.
The Miles encounter, yeah. Big
The
bad
guy almost
Miles.
gave us a heart attack.
Norman's back up pretty much almost to full strength. Very good.
Norman wakes up the next day. Am I still blind or am I good at this
You're
point?
good. You're good. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he goes from being like possibly half brain dead to the next morning. He wakes up and goes over and kicks Duncan and is like, "Rise and shine, back to the mine."
Well, a little thing pops up in the corner of your screen. Duncan will remember that. Well, yeah, time to go.
So do you guys want to go back to the mine, or do you want to go down these steps?
Well, the steps are where the where we kind of heard the hobgoblins off in the distance, right?
Correct.
Norman wants to grab up all the hobgoblin hands that he's collected and that anyone else may have collected, and he wants to go and bring them down as a peace offering to the necromancer, and wants to parlay with her.
You want to try and parlay with her?
Uh,
Are you guys either in agreement or indifferent towards this idea, or do any of you oppose it?
I'm not too sure that'll work.
I feel like I'm doing this a lot, Norman. It's not personal, but Duncan's sort of, I don't, you know what? I wish you luck with that. I really do. I'm not going down there. Not even if I was chained and gagged.
I think, considering
enough.
there's another way down now, going back down to the same place where we found an incredible number of undead would be unwise, even with a peace offering.
It's up to you, Norman. You could go by yourself if you wished, or you could take the opinions of the rest of your companions to heart and do as they want. It's up to you.
Wait here for an hour. If I'm not back, I'm probably dead.
I think we should investigate down these stairs. I mean, we should at least know the lay of the land and what we're dealing with here. And we should do that at full strength. We can't lose you right now, Norman.
I agree with Isabel.
Fine. All right. Well, then I suppose I'm outvoted here.
You
Lead the
do have
way.
free will. You do have free will. It is up to you. I don't mind you guys splitting the party. I can run both groups simultaneously. It's not a big deal. But if you wanna
I
do as the
just
party
think-
requests, up to you.
I think it would be a good idea to get on this thing's good side before we try to find another way in. So I'm going to try to do this as carefully as I possibly can. I think Norman kind of like looks around and he's like, if you'd be willing to wait for me for an hour, I may be able to get some information and get on this witch's good side.
I look
It
at
is-
Alistair.
Go on.
I'm gonna look at Alistair and I'm just gonna say I still think it's a bad idea.
I'm afraid, looking at how the woman reacted last time after you chucked that spear at her, I think she's beyond reason. At least as far as I know. Undead creatures, monstrosities, are not to be reasoned with.
Scratching at his chin, at the sort of few scraggly hairs that are there, Duncan says, perhaps if we go down the stairs, it might loop back around. Maybe we might find her alone down there instead of with all of her friends.
Norman kind of like takes a deep breath and sighs, and he's like, "All right, but I think it's a good idea for all of us to take these hobgoblin hands, just in case, to show her that we mean her no harm. And if we encounter her again, diplomacy is something we should try first."
Do my
Agreed.
best.
Alrighty.
I'm
Right.
opposed to actively looking for her, but if we encounter her, I think this would be a good thing to try.
She said something about the goblins attacking them, so maybe if we find the goblins, we could pit them against each other.
Potentially. There's only
I mean,
one way
I,
to
I
find
like
out.
that idea.
All right.
All right. So shall we get going? Oh yeah, Duncan. By the way, what are you carrying as a weapon right now?
I have a club.
I have a spare short sword. You should take it.
I'm better with a club.
You better with a club?
Yeah, I'm focused in it.
Oh, okay.
Your special weapon is a club. I love it. Let's see if there's some sort of bugbear or orc with a great club. Imagine that.
Oh,
Alrighty, so you guys want to head down these steps, yeah?
Yeah, Norman's coming with the rest of the party.
So, you guys now begin to head down the steps. It's 10 feet wide, which means you guys can go in rows of 2. Which 2 people would like to be at the front, leading the charge?
I will.
I'll
Yes.
I'll also go up front. I think I have the most hit points in the group.
It is dark down there. You will need light. Who would like to light something?
I'll carry a torch.
Okay, so you're gonna strike one.
Yep.
Okay, mark a torch off.
Once again, I will take up the rear.
You're gonna take up the rear. Cool. You guys now head down the steps, and you find yourself entering into the interior of a temple. The walls are made of cobbled stone. Seems to be a well-structured place, and as you now step forward, you find yourself entering into a vast chamber with tall pillars that go from floor to ceiling, holding up this vast room. The ceiling you can't see. The light does not touch the top. And the room itself is long enough that you can't see the other side. You do all, however, hear the sound of a group of small humanoids in a heated argument. Would you like to each roll me a dex check, please?
Is this stealth check?
Yes.
Oof.
7.
Alrighty. And as you guys come into the room, you see hobgoblins. And they seem to be painting on the walls. And as you look to the walls, you all see these carvings, like a bas relief of knights on horseback. This is definitely some sort of knightly temple of a human god. It seems you are in the right place. But as you look to the walls and you see these hobgoblins, they also see you. Let me roll for a reaction, please. They look at you curiously, and one of them calls out and says, "Are you the mercenaries?"
Why, as a matter of fact, we are.
They nod. And some of them look a bit scared. One of them's got like his weapon in his hand and he's shaking as you guys entering into the room. And the one who's speaking, he says, "Alright boys, you can put down your weapons. These are the mercenaries that Boss has hired. You know, to deal with the others."
Duncan squeaks out. What others?
Well, we've got a bit of an issue within the tribe currently. And he kind of puts his hands on his hips. And he says, our boy Derek, he's been in charge for a long time, he has. He's third generation leader. Chief. Some would even call him a king. And up until recently, things have been pretty good here. You know, we've been making money, we've been kind of thriving. I've got a couple of pups myself, you know, doing alright. But there's another one. Another hobgoblin. He's been working up the ranks recently. Rink. Now, Rink is a cunt, right? By the way, this is all in Goblin. Like in actually no, I think this guy speaks very broken Common, so you're probably all understanding this. And he says, "Now Rink is a right horrible cunt, and he knows certain tricks, you know." And he kind of waves. He basically does the gesture for magic with his hands, and he's let that go to his head. You see, right? And he kind of spits on the floor. Boss is looking for mercs, and I'm assuming you lot owe his hiring, right? So I imagine you want to see Boss.
Duncan, there's a glint of inspiration in Duncan's eye. As he looks at these veritable soldiers, and he says, I do believe we will see, Boss. He does ask, I've got a curiosity, though. Do goblins worship Bane?
He pauses for a moment, and the hobgoblin looks at you really kind of curiously. And he says, "No, why would we?"
Duncan sort of proclaims a fist and says, well, I figured powerful goblins such as yourselves would be more than willing to accept the blessings of a bountiful war god of destruction and conquest. No?
One of the other hobgoblins looks on curiously and says, "Isn't that a human god?" "Yeah, isn't that a human god?"
Duncan sort of, he does like he waves his hand a little bit as to say it's like the unsteady motion.
Yeah.
I don't think they take favorites.
There's kind of a pause, and he looks over and he says, "Wait, who is it that the shaman serves? Is it Varprak, or is it Grumsh?" And the hobgoblins all kind of shrug. They seem to be fucking agnostic at best, man. At least these four are. They don't seem to worship any god. I think they only worship the money. Silver, gold.
So that I stop hogging the spotlight, I'll wrap this up. Duncan says, "Oh then, by Bane, I will lead you against, or at least help lead you against this wretched cunt you speak of."
Right. Yeah, you need to speak to boss. You can't be speaking to me. I'm just, overseeing these cunts here, making sure they cover these walls. We're trying to make the place look intimidating for outsiders, people who are coming here to kill us. Not you lot, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah, be aware, boss is got money for you lot. So best you come follow me, and I'll take you right to him.
Onwards.
This one over here. These two go down here, and they start, they've got, buckets of, black paint. It smells very earthy, the paint that they're working with, and they're just kind of covering up a lot of the murals on the wall, depicting these very majestic knights. And you can see on their shields that it depicts suns, like a sun, right? And you realise, Jamie, they are defacing these murals of your god servants. But they're just painting it with crude. It looks like charcoal or something that they're painting it with.
She's just gonna whisper to Norman, "I can't stand for this."
Norman kind of just looks at her and he's like, "You're gonna have to for right now. Maybe we'll deal with this later. As of right now, though, I'm here to get paid. Not here for a holy quest."
Yeah, by the way, my name's Ugrock. What about yours?
They call me Duncan. Duncan of Dusthaven.
Duncan. Right.
Green tongue.
What?
Green tongue.
Green tongue. Cool. Are these your women?
They are compatriots of ours.
What? Anyway.
Duncan waves a hand. Something like that.
Yeah.
You now follow him down a dark corridor, and he leads you into another room. Let me roll for a random encounter. Okay. Cool. So you step into a chamber, which appears to be a shrine. In the center of the room, there is a stalwart woman in full plate, wielding or holding a longsword with both hands. The walls are blue mosaic art depicting knights, similar to what you saw in the other room. To the northeast and the northwest, I think you guys can see already, there are cages. These cages are putrid smelling, and they are filled with collared hyenas that are chained and hungrily snarling at you guys. Let me add their tokens, these hyenas. And he says, "Don't mind the dogs, they're our pets." And they look fucking vicious, guys. And they are trying to leap at Alistair as he walks towards one of them. It makes you stop dead in your tracks. Yeah, they are absolutely feral. They don't look like they've been trained at all. There is a staircase, and as you can see, there's a... it's a D. So it goes, it goes downwards. But they kind of pause you here. And I will say the sword is not actually a part of the statue. It is glimmering, still with a silver sheen, this blade that the statue is holding. Pretty interesting.
What's up with the blade?
What? And he looks up. What about it?
Ah, just looks nice as all.
Right.
Did you build this place yourself?
No. I don't know, to be honest. I think my great grandpappy came here. We've been here for a long time.
So it would seem those dogs are, well, I know them to be quite vicious on their the unto themselves. How the hell did you manage to capture them?
We get them from when they're babies. They look feral, but that's because they don't like you. They do listen to us.
Impressive. All right. Are we to wait here, or are we to go down?
Oh, for grumps, you lot are impatient. How about you step aside?
All right.
He now steps up here and puts his hand on the wall and he presses on one of the bricks. The brick specifically has a star on it. He pushes it in and secret passageway opens. And as it does, it reveals a room. And this is where I'm going to end the session this week. As you guys walk down the corridor and into the next room, you find what appears to have once been a crypt of some sort. And you see, raised on a platform, a raised dais, in the middle of the room, is a goblin with a crown on his head. A hobgoblin specifically, obviously, with a crown on his head. Sitting, lounging on silk pillows, eating cheese and drinking wine. And as he sees you, he says, "Are these the mercenaries that you lot were talking about?" And the other goblin says, or hobgoblin says, "Yeah, here they are. Let me introduce you to them." And we're going to end it right there, guys.
Woo!
Sweet.
All right.
No, this
Thank
one
you,
was
Loki.
good. This one was really good. That nat 20 moment right there, man. I thought we were done.
Yeah, I was already planning me next character.
Same here, man. I was not expecting that to happen.
Well done, guys. I'm really surprised by that. I definitely thought you guys were goners. As soon as Isabel threw the spear, I was like, yeah, no. Definitely not a good idea when you're surrounded. But you guys got away with it, so look at you.
Well, let it be a lesson. Let's be careful next time.
Yeah,
I
when
mean,
you're
when
outnumbered.
somebody's walking towards you really creepily with a pickaxe, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
fair enough. Yeah, you were in your right to do it, and nobody died, so. But guys, thank you very much for playing. Hope you guys enjoyed today's session. I'm excited for next week. It seems you guys are being hired by the hobgoblins. There is clearly some big plot afoot in this adventure, guys, and you guys are now getting pretty stuck into it. I'm excited to see where it's going to go. Anyway, everybody who's been watching in the live stream, thank you very much for watching. A little bit slow at times today. That's just the nature of it sometimes, but definitely picked up towards the end, so thank you very much for watching. We'll see you guys next week for episode number 5. We will see what happens if any of the players meet their maker, or if they will be able to continue and make some money. I think you guys are getting close to leveling up now, aren't you?
Halfway there.
Halfway there.
Yeah, I'm at 6.
You just need some big pieces of treasure. I wonder if the sword is worth anything. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, I'm going to end the stream right there, guys. We'll see you guys next week.